Tonight's second place finisher. Plenty of fans here, Brett, and a solid second place finish.
Yeah, I got to shout out the Turn 2 Terror Boys over there. They're all a bunch of good guys to hang out with, talk to. I really like them.
Jay-Z is here.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Turn 2 Terribles podcast. We're going to have a kind of change it up a little bit tonight. We got Chris Lynn in the house, obviously myself back again, and we're going to have a guest here. As you can see already, there's no like special entrance. We don't have entrance music, no Stone Cold like glass breaking. Dakota Kuhn's going to join us tonight. The head wrench man on the number 90 410 sprint car here in Central PA. Driver is Jordan Givler, so he's going to join us tonight. We're going to talk Bull Sprint cars and hopefully not embarrass Jordan too bad, or
embarrass myself,
or himself, hopefully. So we'll get started here. I want to share the stream. Did you put it up, Chris?
It is live. Yeah, I didn't share anything though.
All right, no worries. Let me get on a turn.
So you see, Jimmy's not here. He's the guy that does all this. He's our.
Where's Jimmy at tonight?
Jimmy's often cares of personal stuff. Josh Aaron is still in England on his month sabbatical of vacations from 2020. So you're all stuck with us in Dakota tonight.
Yeah, I must have got low on choices, that's all.
Yeah, well, we're saving the other guys for like other times. We know you're not busy, so Dakota,
let's be honest, none of us are really busy because all your other options are in the same boat as us, no motors.
There is truth to that for sure. So I guess we'll start there. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your background, and talk to us about the 90, man. How things are going.
Oh, well, it was going good at the beginning of the year. Icebreaker started off really good, and then kind of went to shit, and then just struggled. Everybody has some struggles, and then we technically, unfortunately, I guess ended on a high note, but didn't really end on a high note because hurt the motor at Bedford the next night after the big win. But it's just how racing goes. Everybody knows how that goes.
So give me the details on the motor, man. What happened to it here? What was the ultimate cause of failure?
We think a couple of either the thrust bearing or the main bearing went out on it. There was some brass and the oil filter. We did our maintenance on Wednesday. If it was a simple fix, we would have got it fixed, but unfortunately, it was a big fix or a big problem.
Big problems or big problems?
Yeah, big problems. No good. Kind of missing some races and
You were just starting to figure it out, right? You just fresh off a win, what, 3 weeks ago now, Latrobe?
Yeah, something like about 3 weeks ago, I think. I lost count.
So what was your race total for the year, you know?
I could count it, but it's probably about 20, 25.
Okay.
We were shooting about 35. So we're 10 races short, probably.
Okay. And I did see, I guess Jordan made a post, you know, kind of could try to put it back together, could try to do a couple things here to rush it, but you know, the season coming to a close quick, and just the way the State of the Union is probably better to kind of recoup and get it built correctly for next year. Is that kind of what I saw?
Yeah, if it was, like I said, if it was a cheap, easy fix, we would have got it fixed, but it's going to cost a good bit of money. And at that point, what needs to be done should just get rebuilt anyway. So that's where we were at. Yeah, hopefully, I don't know, you put something out there and maybe try to find something. We were actually just talking about it a little bit ago. Maybe try to find maybe a ride for a race or two or a motor if there's any running around just to try to get races in. But actually, our plan is our other motor's actually being rebuilt or freshened right now. So this one needs it too. So our actual hope and plan is to sell both of them to build a brand new one. And with that new one, it will help us time travel a bit better with some of these bigger races where that's where we're lacking, like Speed Week stuff. Like, we should have made the second Speed Week show, but we were pretty good there. And then Stevie Smith race, we actually were good there, probably could have qualified there, but we actually didn't have brakes. But these guys are playing with tents, and our stuff's like 16 years old motor-wise, and that's just not getting the job done for I think that next lap.
Yeah, and in an age of, like, you know, time trials are becoming, I think, more and more and more, you know, we see even more weekly shows around Central PA turn into or time trial shows for this tune-up or that tune-up or that event or this event. And I think the drivers tend to like time trials, where I think tracks want to keep things moving, don't like time trials, but it seems like we time trial more and more around here every year. And, you know, a lot of your nights predicated and set up off of that, you know, so, which, you know, it should be, right? Just like most racing forms of racing, some sort of qualifying, and then that sets up your day. But in sprint car racing, where it's hard to pass and everybody's fast and everybody's competitive, especially here, time trialing sets up your night, you know. And if you guys can have a good race car, but, you know, you can only start from so far back and pass so many cars in a night.
Yeah, and that's kind of where we're at. Yeah, I agree. We get more and more time trial shows every year, and like our operation's a weekly operation for like our handicap stuff. But you make your money in these big time trial shows, and if you don't time well, you're screwed. And if you're starting 8th in a heat race, your night's basically over in a sense, unless you get really, really lucky. And you're not going to make it through like a Speed Week show starting 8th in a heat race. You might be able to put yourself in position for the B main, but the odds are it's so hard because there's so many guys that come into this area now for like Speed Week per se, and like that Stevie Smith race was an unsanctioned race. I think the way I forget how they scheduled it, but I'm pretty sure like the All-Stars weren't around. So that was basically a local field. But still, how many local guys showed up that are really good? That's still a 40-car field, and
right,
let's be honest, 30 of them have really good hitter motors. The shitty part about it is, Jordan and I talk about this all the time, is you spend all this money for 2 laps at the beginning of your night, and then as soon as if you walk through the pit area after time trials, everybody has their hoods off. They're taking timing out, they're changing stacks, they're changing nozzles, they're detuning right away. So then where they're already at is already us on kill. So that's like we're that far behind. We're basically racing against them guys that are detuned when we're on kill still.
right.
So it sounds like you prefer the handicap shows for your operation, obviously, or no? Like, what is?
I mean, for our situation right now, yes, handicap shows, but actually, like our time trial effort in Speed Week, I think we can time trial given the right. Everything needs to line up for us to be able to time trial.
Draw and
Right,
Good
and
track
everything
state.
just needs to the stars literally just need to align perfectly. I think that Speed Week show that was the Monday Speed Week show at Lincoln. I think we timed 9th or 10th in our group. We went out kind of late, and we time trialed 9th. But then the flip side of that is we started 5th in the heat race. Danny Dietrich starts 6th.
Right.
Like
You got that run in the heat race then.
Yeah, Danny's going to fire off, and he's going to go get after it. And I think the track was pretty narrow where you kind of had to be up top. You're not going to beat Danny in the turn 1 on a track like that.
So
For us to be basically handicapped, which we're getting less and less of that, but we got to get to the time trial stuff. I mean, look at Troy Wagaman. Like, he's one of my best friends, and they focused on their time trial program this year, and look at what it's done for them.
Yeah,
and they set up their night, right? You don't have to have the best of the best of the best every night, but you got to set yourself up to be in position to take advantage of things and then do all the right things as a driver and the setup. But if you really don't give yourself a shot if you time 30th out of 33 cars. It's very, very difficult to do if you're not that team that has the best of the best stuff and can pass all those cars. So, I think that no matter what you do, if you build a car for time trials or you get a motor, that motor can be detuned down, right? Just like we talked about. So, it's hard though. Nothing's cheap, and it's you guys do a good job with what you have, and I've been watching for years, even before I kind of got to know you and Jordan. And the car doesn't end up wrecked a whole lot. You don't tear up a lot of equipment, and you make do, and you have for the most part you have a good time with it, and you guys look to get better all the time. You're always looking for ideas and ways to get better with and working with what you have, right? So to me it's commendable and respectable, and I know Jordan's a competitive guy, and I know you are too, but what do you see the outlook in the next 1, 3, or 5 years? Where do you see it going?
Hopefully we keep doing what we're doing, because I think last year we finally took the step to get a second motor, and we focused on running Lincoln every week. We didn't fulfill that goal necessarily because we missed a couple races due to some motor issues, but I think we may have missed 3 races at Lincoln last year. But I know walking through the pit area, there was a couple of guys, they were like, you guys are running really well, and to him and I didn't feel like we were running very well. Our goal last year was to try to be like, I want to say I think it was like the 8th to 14th range, just to make that next step, because we felt like we could compete close to the top 10 every night. And this year, I think we took that next step, like icebreaker and all, like everything for us went the right way that day. Like, started on the pole heat race. Freddie made us look stupid in the heat race. He drove around us, but we started 2nd, fell back to 6th, I think, and then Jordan actually passed Bollinger back for 5th. But if you look at the guys that were in front of us, it was Freddie winning. I forget what the whole order was, but it was Freddie winning, Danny, Macri, Brent Marks. That was the 4 cars in front of us. And that was a big confidence booster for us, because it showed we can hang with them guys. Granted, the circumstances were all aligned, but still, you got to be able to stay up there. And then the next week, unfortunately, got in that one wreck. Had a steering box issue, struggled the next 2 weeks until we finally just changed the steering box, trying to figure out what our issue was. Then just get to racing, and then when you don't qualify for 3 weeks in a row, you miss basically a month. You don't race in a feature, and you don't really learn anything if you're not racing in features, in all honesty, because you're making 30 laps. You're racing. Yeah, you're racing in 10 laps, but you don't learn a lot, and you're not seeing what you got, because it came to the point where Jordan actually said, we need to go to the Grove. And I'm like, dude, you're crazy. Like, why are we going to the Grove when we don't have what we need to go there? We don't have the motor to go there. But in all honesty, you got to race. So I'm like, if you think we need to go this because you don't feel good in the seat, then let's just go and do it. And then we ended up going to Port Royal because of the Lincoln Time Trial show. We just didn't like our chances at that show. We went to Port Royal. We learned a bunch. We were in the back all night, but we learned a bunch at Port Royal, and then some dummy wanted to try something in the feature. Didn't work. Then we went back to Port the next week, and the track was completely different than what we thought it was going to be, and we were completely off all night. But in those 2 weeks, we kind of learned don't really just guess right away and like think you're going to be onto something, because chances are you're going to guess wrong half the time.
So, like, when you go to a place, Dakota, you've been around the sport a long time. Jordan's been driving, 358s and 410s, and you go to a place like Port Royal. How big is that notebook?
When we go, so like we have our kind of like big track package, I would say, like what I call our big track package. Then we have like our other track package. So like, we kind of go to Williams Grove, Port. We actually went to Latrobe and Bedford on the same bars and similar turns. And Lincoln Babs is kind of on a similar deal. So you got to start off with something and a base you got to know. Then you build on it, and then when you go back to these places, you kind of have an idea what direction to go and what not to go.
So on a night where you turn all the shocks the wrong direction, this is an infamous story this year, fairly recently, right? So
yes.
I didn't hear this whole story. So give me the timeline here. You guys decided to make a shock change, and tell me this story.
Yeah, it was some dumbass. So we got Factory King shocks. Drew Bible did them, and they've changed our. We only got to run them, unfortunately, for 4 races, but they've changed our program a very, very good way, and it helped us. But Grove, we got them for the first night for the Billy Kimmel race. Go to Lincoln the next night, the second night on them. Jordan actually on top of the trailer, and we're like, because this is what I think we need to do. So what do you think? He said, what do you think? I said, well, I think we need to do this and that. And I really don't know what to do after that, but I think we need to start here. And he goes, okay, you and I are thinking the same thing. So I went down to twist the shock knobs. I went to open them up, and I accidentally closed them the whole way. So instead of opening the left front up to take rebound out and take compression out of the right rear shock and tie it down a little bit, I actually closed it and made the right rear stiffer, and I locked the left front down. So we're getting ready to put the features, do our feature stuff, and then all of a sudden I hear Jordan look at me and goes, hey, did you close the shocks off when we came back in? I said, no, I didn't touch them. And he goes, well, you closed them. You didn't open them. You went the wrong way. I'm like, are you serious? And he goes, yeah, you twisted them the wrong way. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. He goes, yeah, so I think that didn't help us in here. I said, so, well, that explains why it looked like we need a little bit more right rear stick in the car. So I walk up to the track, just look at it. Timmy Wagaman's walking down, and he's like, you guys look pretty good in here. He's where you guys start. And I told him, I said, I think we started fourth. So I think we start fourth. But here's the kicker. You think we look really good. I twisted the shocks the wrong way. And he goes, well, hell, you might as well just leave them the way they are because it looked pretty damn good that way. I'm like, yeah, well, it's not what I wanted to do.
So I was at that Billy Kimmel race. You brought that up, and that was the first race on those shocks. And I happened to be there and spent the feature with you guys on your trailer, and was doing some photography from there. And I told you guys this at the time. I think I was talking to Troy. I think Troy was on your trailer that night too. We just chatted about it, and I've talked about it since, like, after that, and the confidence it looked like Jordan had that night before he really knew what he had. It looked to me like he had the confidence of, I've seen other people in these shocks. They're proven. There's enough data out there. We got them. Here we go. And he drove his ass off that night. And it slipped back a little bit in feature. And, the way the track was, and you got some big motor guys around there. But I think he ended up 10th in the Kimmel Memorial, in the Kimmel car, I think it was.
I think 9th or 10th. Something. It was 9th or 10th. It's a top 10. It's
a top 10.
It was a win for us. It was a win for us. I think we honestly were probably a 7th place car if the cautions didn't come out. But yeah, that night you came over and said something to me about it. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know, because after hot laps he's like, this is the best I've ever felt here, and I'm just like, well, hopefully this is what we needed. But then we go to Lincoln the next night, we really, really sucked. And that's actually when I twisted the shocks the wrong way. But in the feature, it wasn't even really the shocks, because we were the same way we were at Lincoln every past 5 weeks on our other stuff. But yeah, that night was definitely a big confidence booster. And I think that's kind of I think that is, in a way, also what helped us win at Latrobe a little bit too, because he knew he could go down and he ran the bottom there, and no one else was up down there. And I think he just knew the car was going to stick. He just had so much confidence that he knew we were in the right direction.
Yeah, Cody Hartlaw. Hey, what's up, Cody? Chiming in, my guy.
Oh, Coco. He better win that big old 358 race there Saturday at BAPS. That's all I know.
Yeah, I'm going to have to figure out how to stream that on an airplane. I'm going to be flying to Kansas City when that's going on. So I'm going to have to see if I can download, purchase that, and somehow watch that damn broadcast while I see what's going on there. So, Cody, thanks for chiming in, dude. see Jimmy out there. He's, we got to raise funds for the new motor. We're going to do that through Dakota Kuhn setupshop.com.
You don't want them. You don't want these ones.
Well, so we call them detune Dakota Kuhn, not only motors but shocks. So we're going to detune.
The question.
So that nickname actually came from Troy's uncle because of iRacing.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So when iRacing first came out, Troy had it, and I wanted to try it before I got it. And then his uncle came down and got on it, and he started. We were racing late models of Volusia. The only person I've ever seen do a wheel stand in a late model of Volusia is Will Bechtel. Troy's grandma and his mom were laughing their asses off at us that night trying to cartoon race. And then I got iRacing, and then Troy's uncle B-Dub, he would come down and he would start yelling at Cody. Was always on at that time, and he would always come down and start talking to us. And he'd go, "Oh, Dakota, you better detune that thing. You got to slow it down. You got to stop spinning the wheels." So that's how that actually started. And it kind of died. It kind of died off there for a while, but Cody actually picked it back up again. I think Cody throws it out there every once in a while, but I think
I've been hearing it a lot lately, but I didn't know the story.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
So I have a question before we kind of transition. I want to know more about you, Dakota, and how you got where you're at. Before then, so when you're going the next season with Jordan and you're looking at your races and your schedule, do you have certain ones circled, like a Latrobe or a Big Diamond, that those races we can go win, or is that something you don't even think about? It's just top 10s, top 5s, show up money, whatever keeps it going. How is that? Do you think that Williams Grove race, top 10, that's big?
Yeah, so there's one race that's always going to be circled on our calendar, and it's honestly all for Jordan. Like, there's one race I would love to win more than it. Granted, I'd love to someday somehow win the National Open. That's my favorite race in the whole world. Sorry, Knoxville and Kings Royal, but National Open's in obviously our backyard. I'd love to somehow find a way to win that race. But the Billy Kimmel race is definitely always will be on our calendar no matter what, even if we're not running the tribute car, because Jordan learned a lot from Billy when he was first getting into this, I guess probably about 20 years ago now. So I know how much Jordan won't say it, but I know how much it means for Jordan to run that car every year, or just even before we ran it, just to be in that race. So like that's one race I would love to win just for Jordan and the Kimmel family, just because of the history of that race. So that's always going to be circled on our schedule calendar, just because of that reason. That's why it kind of honestly felt unfortunate. Like we backed up, but that it still felt good to run top 10 with that car, just because the background of it. And last year we struggled in it just because of the motor. And then 2 years ago, the first year we ran it, we actually spun out in that and didn't really have good results. But everybody would love to see us win that race in that car. That
aforementioned Billy Kimmel car.
But back to what you were saying about races. Honestly, our schedule for next year, who knows? It also depends on how this motor situation turns out, and hopefully it goes where we can run some of these bigger races. I love running the big races. I'd love to find a way to run the Tusky 50 next year, and the Dirt Classic and stuff at Lincoln, just because those races, how many people are there? There's nothing cooler than pulling into the racetrack where there's how many people there. Right. So
we'll definitely touch on it in a few minutes with the Tusky 50 stuff, like that place. But that's gonna be fun, even for you up on top of the hauler, just looking out, seeing that place, and if you run well there, just help the place go nuts.
Right, and I watched the replay from the 50 the other night. I didn't watch all, but G-Mac's McIntyre, G-Mac, he's a good friend of ours because He drove for our main sponsor, also Jordan's boss, Water Treatment by Design, Mark Holdren. He drove for Mark a couple years ago on the All-Star Tour, and now he's running the Aaron Ziller 33. That car is literally right down the street from Port, and they were saying about how the place would go nuts, and you could hear on the stream everybody going nuts.
Yeah,
And that, like that for us, that's awesome. Like, I remember a couple years ago, we actually made the National Open kind of, and honestly, in a fluke deal. Everybody wrecked. I'm not gonna lie, like everything fell our way that night.
Stacking
But-
pennies.
Right, but like, so we were parked on the backstretch, and it was unfortunately right after Greg Condon was killed. So they had the everybody in the stands pulled their phones out to the flashlight thing on their phone, and that was Jordan even said it was the coolest thing he's ever seen in the car, and like for me, just staying on the trailer, that was the coolest thing. Watching the 4 wide and everybody doing that.
Pretty cool feeling for sure. It's still like, Lincoln, whenever the Outlaw race is in town, Tusky 50, National Open, all those races, man. It's a sight. Like, I can't, like, as a fan, I know what it does for me, but being a participant, being in that field, making that show, pretty cool. And we talked to Brett Strickler a lot. We're pretty close, with him, and we got to do a 4 wide last week. Was it last week?
2 weeks ago, I think.
2 weeks ago.
Well, last week, 2 weeks ago. Last time Lincoln raced. Yes.
Last time they raced, got to do a 4 wide, and he was like, "Man, that was pretty cool." And like, there was 13 fans there, and not quite, but it wasn't. It was a weekly show, and
that's weekly racing anymore, though.
Right.
that was a weekly show. But even like that, he was like, "That was pretty cool." Got to do a 4 wide and a 410. Like, just there's something about it for sure.
Right.
So
And like you said too, with like G-Mac, or even like an Outlaw show when you have Lance or one of our posse guys closing in the leader, you can feel the energy building in the crowd each time they knock a car off or when Danny gets passed.
Yeah.
Because when Danny got passed on Saturday night, you would have thought the posse just beat the Outlaws because the whole infield almost burned down between people crying and people cheering. It was nuts. So the passion, that makes it fun and has to make a good atmosphere for you guys to want to go be a part of.
Absolutely, like that's what makes sports in general, is the atmosphere. I mean, it gives you goosebumps at times. I know, like Speed Week, it's for the school, like just all the campers that were there, and Speed Week is tough anymore. That's basically an all-star show, so people are going to come out. I mean, also helps that like Larson and Bell are there, so people are coming to see them. But still, I mean, doesn't matter because it gives you some motivation to put on a show for the fans, and hopefully people take notice to you.
Sure.
For sure. So let's talk about this past weekend. A lot of racing going on. Big races, a lot of big racing going on. We had Tuscarora 50 here in town locally. Gold Cuppers out on the West Coast. But let's just get right into the Tuscarora 50 in the rundown. So Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, right? I think Friday and Saturday turned into Saturday and Sunday. It was late every night.
Every night.
I don't know if the races were late or the parties were, but
I'm going to start off by, I don't understand on the Thursday night of the Tuscarora 50, when you're going to get 50 damn cars, why you schedule a support division to begin with, and then a support division where they're going to get 50 cars. There's 100 cars in the pit area on a Thursday night. You start at 6 or 7 o'clock, and you're time trialing, and you expect it to be over at a decent hour. I do not understand why racetracks do that. Don't understand.
That's literally what Jimmy and I talked about in the intro, because it was just him and I in there on Thursday, and we're like, for those big shows, I'm okay with sitting with an empty track for 5-15 minutes while I do whatever they have to do. To prevent a 305 race, and luckily they didn't have any real big delays during those races, but you have 45 cars, 50 cars, whatever it is, it's going to drag that show out so much farther.
And it's 2 classes of 40 cars need pushed off. And
right.
Exactly.
And if you get an accident, you're towing a car off, and it's a half-mile track, and it just takes time. And we live this at Lincoln every week. Now Dakota's there. I've been at Lincoln, and it's like every day.
I don't understand Lincoln's. I don't understand how Lincoln runs till midnight every night either. I don't understand that. Like, we'll be sitting there looking at Race Monitor, and they're about done. Port's about done with their feature, while Lincoln, we're still waiting for the damn last constant to come off. Like, then they want to blame the support divisions. No, speed up your damn show. Like, we don't need to be here till midnight.
yeah, no reason for some of the time in between things that they do. And, it's funny that, like, if weather's coming or it's early in the year, they're pre-staging things for the next thing. And, like, they keep it moving. But middle of summer
And
gets here, it's like,
that's
gotta
honestly
sell more hot dogs.
And that's honestly some of the reason why Danny goes early. He'll travel 2 hours earlier because he knows he'll get home earlier. And that's
saying
think about
something.
that. That's fucked up.
Yeah. So Thursday night, Anthony Macri, right? We get prelim win. I was not there for this one. I did get to watch some of it. But Chris, I think you can kind of give me the rundown. Dakota, you were at all 3 nights, correct?
Yeah, but I can't really tell you what. I zoned out. I was at the fair,
Right, so
There wasn't a mint 90, gold 90 there, so I was doing other things, but I
You
was
were
there
eating,
all
weren't
3
you?
nights.
You were just
Absolutely,
eating.
turkey dinner.
He
Turkey
delayed
dinner.
going to the beer store for almost an hour because he was eating.
Yeah, turkey dinner.
Priorities, guys. Priorities. Turkey dinners over beer.
I had to take Brett's turkey dinner. Looks like I can do it on air, but Brett's first time for turkey dinner.
I still haven't had one.
I didn't
I
either.
don't know what's wrong.
I ended up getting something where there wasn't a line.
That's kind of what I did the other night on Friday night. But tell me about Thursday night, Chris. Give me a rundown. Macri, who was second?
Why you asking questions I'm not going to know the answer to?
Hold on, let me pull the race monitor up. I know Danny was. I think Danny was somewhere in the top 3.
It was it Peck?
I'm not sure.
It was
Danny, or it was Macri, Danny, Wagner. Peck was 4th.
It was a bad week for the All-Stars as far as podiums go. That track was different. That was a different kind of Port Royal track, though. I feel like it was a hard surface until we got in there.
But you got to think it rained there Monday,
right?
Tuesday, Wednesday. I know girlfriend went there. She got there with her camper Wednesday night. She said it rained there pretty hard Wednesday. So it was going to either be hard as a rock or it was going to be dug up, and it was going to be 13-second lap times probably. So yeah, I thought the track was kind of shitty come feature time. Like it almost looked like it took rubber, and it was kind of a snooze fest. But
right, it was like it wasn't a typical Port Royal race. I guess what I was going with. Like Macri, I think started up there on this night, and it was kind of like it wasn't. They all got spread out and just kind of went.
Yeah, I think they said they had 4 to 5 inches of rain over the week, and they sealed it over. Track was hard, and I had Brett Mark's dad came and saw me at work on Friday, and he said it was dirty. Like it was just like I saw that on the broadcast. It just like even in like the heats, the features, everything just looked dirty. There wasn't anything like dig into. So I think
they talked about that. I think over the air too, obviously. But I mean, Jimmy's right.
Yeah,
it was a quick show. We didn't have anything.
Cool air isn't really going to dry it out either. But you would think cool air would kind of keep moisture in it, but it just didn't. I think they probably just sealed it just so they could have a half decent racetrack.
It was, and they did do that. So like we talked about opening day when Jimmy and I were there. We walked in. You thought you could play corn in that turn 2 because of how chewed up it was and whatever. But for this one, you walked in, and it was already like hard as rock. Like you didn't see it. It was already getting dark before the end of even hot laps.
Right, so, and that's how you think about the Port Royal.
Used to be
probably 5 years ago, if not even honestly, maybe throughout the whole years, it used to always be like that after hot laps, like dead slick blowing off, like what the hell we racing on kind of deal.
Right.
I've seen that a lot the last 2 years, in my opinion. I they're running, 17-second laps in heats. Like it's already slowed down multiple seconds in the heat races, and it's on the fence in the heats, and it's just blowing dust. But it ends up a good feature all the time, and that's ultimately what we want. If we're going to see, maybe not great heats and we see a good feature, that's great. But
it's also hard to have good racing with 10 or let's say 10 cars in 8 laps. It's hard, right. Especially the way these cars are now. Like this, like we could circle back to this after your race recap, but like that's just how racing is anymore. It's just not. You're not going to have good racing all the time, especially in heat races, especially
right.
With the time trial format like that. It's just so hard, especially with the quality of cars that were there.
Yeah, to expect you're going to have an entertaining time trials, all the heats are great and the feature great. It's a little much, and I think about that at Lincoln a lot when I go to the big shows at Lincoln, and it's a small track, and I go back to look at Lincoln this year. How many times they had water truck and or grader and or push trucks on the track at Lincoln this year between events?
Well, you go to Lincoln for any
Like
big show,
none.
walk down through the pit area and ask how many people are like, what the hell are we doing? Because that track is so stupid every time there's a big time trial show there. Outlaw, Speed Week, the All-Star stuff. Their class is probably going to be boring until halfway through the feature, in all honesty, because somehow they overwater it and it's so dirty.
Right.
And
that's kind of what I'm saying.
It's not what we get weekly. Like, I don't understand what Lincoln does with that aspect. But
the strategy is to have the feature good. And we've seen a lot of great features at Lincoln this year with a curb, and guys can run the top and the bottom. It's not one lane dominant. Port Royal, a lot of times you rarely have seen. You don't see multiple times a year where the top and the middle and the bottom are all equal. It's very much a top dominant racetrack, and occasionally you get the bottom, like on Friday night, you can get the bottom to come in and or not even come in, just kind of be there. So one things I've been seeing with Port is that even if the top's fast, it's so thin that there's not much for them to even lean on anymore, and they start searching. That's what I saw Friday night. So we can talk about Friday night a little bit. I was there, got to spend a little bit of time, got there late. Apparently I was sitting in traffic in a brush fire that was already put out, but I still sat in the backlog. Turns out.
I only saw half of the feature on Friday, so I can't really tell you. But I did watch the replay, and if Danny didn't break, he would have won that race.
Yeah, we all knew that, but we're gonna ignore that part because Lance after that.
He raced. He ran. He was there.
Unfortunately, yeah. Because they both drove a hell of a race. Danny was getting ready to take him over, and then just you hear the car shut off, and the whole place went nuts.
Yeah, that was just me. But Friday night was the beginning of the shit show of the 2 days as far as weird shit happening. They knocked the wall down at time trials, had to repair the fence. When they repaired the fence, I still had obviously something sharp because more cars just went in there and they hit the wall. Okay, they hit the wall and destroyed those tires. Like, I have a picture of Halligan hitting the wall, broke out the rear end of that car, and a gigantic piece of rubber up in the air above his car. There was still something on the wall that was cutting tires, and it sounded like a cannon going off. Borden did it, Halligan did it. This was after they fixed that fence. And then we knocked the actual fence down in the feature. So
turn 1 and 2 fence got to work out on Friday night.
Friday was a full moon, so this all checks out.
I know when GMAC, when he had his issue Friday night, actually I think it was his right rear stop actually flew off because they went back there. They let everybody that time tried to let everybody across, and I asked Senior. I said, what happened? And he told me. I said, well, you guys are going to fix it because you'll get one lap at the end. He goes, I doubt it. Probably not. Well, they let everybody across, so I walk across, and I see Dennis Kohler having the car and Jack, and they're starting to do it. I'm like, well, I jumped in and helped them just because GMAC's that whole crew family is great people. So, like, I jumped in to help them, and it actually worked out for them because they did make the show. And they were like, we're going so far behind. I'm like, you can drive a race car, GMAC.
He's been really good here the last half of the season. I think he's really, that he won a race, put on a hell of a show Saturday night there for a while, and that car's had really good speed here the last month and a half of the season. So Friday night with big crash with Mike Wagner, I guess I didn't know what happened.
Cy Lynch's there's a cap on the inside of the wheel where the bearings for the spindle go, and I guess that cap flew off or whatever, and that's what flew the tire off, because when the car came back in, it was right next to, or it was close to Austin's car, and unfortunately Austin was in that, and you could see one of the bearings were still in the spindle, so like the whole thing went flying off from the spindle.
So it was the 42. It wasn't Ayrton?
No, it was the 42.
Oh, so someone told me that it was Ayrton Jennison's tire, and so I actually got bad information. But that was pretty scary. I got to be honest.
The crazy part is that actually something that happened to Logan a couple years ago up at Port 2, where he launched over a tire and did the same thing down that corner, but he didn't tear the wall down like his dad did Friday night.
Yeah, I can say that. I have not seen that too many times in watching racing There's also, unfortunately, Mr. Bishop was up in there. And there's a hole in the fence. That was I've seen some big ones. We saw the what is it? At Baps that time where the car got stuck on top of the fence, just rolled and landed up on top.
Yeah.
Landed a
I saw
10
Adam
on
Will
top
do
of
that
the
at
fence.
Lincoln one time.
So I've seen some big ones, but that Mike Wagner one was like wild. Like I've never. I mean, he just peeled that back, and there's been lots of cars that probably hit that before, but he caught it just the right way. Man, punched through there. Kind of a weird sight to see after it was all cleaned up. Like there's just a big hole there, for sure. So Lance Deweese wins that night, the night before. For sure, and then overnight, obviously, we'll get to that here. Lance wins that night. That was a pretty popular win, obviously. I got into the crowd there by the Packers concessions, behind Victory Lane, and there was a lot of happy fans that night for sure. And I think Lance and the team were pretty happy that they had good speed. The track kind of came to them. They kind of worked for them, and Danny braking helped. But one thing that really stood out to me was the way Lance could enter the corner. Like, you got Brian Brown leading in clean air, and Lance could drive that car straighter, deeper, and faster than anybody near him. That car would just drive, and it would slow down at the same rate. And he was kind of doing like a slider line 1 and 2, which is kind of wild. I don't think he wanted the car to get tight behind Brian Brown there, and just ate into his lead so fast on entry to 1. It was the speed difference between Brian Brown and Lance Deweese and entry to 1 was awesome. Like, wild to me. And that's a Lance thing. That's a 69K kind of thing. So they get that win. And overnight, the Port Royal track crew replaces, as you can see behind me here,
They had to replace a big hole.
Big hole in the fence, and they also replaced all that guard railing you see down low in my picture there. All that had been grinded on from earlier in the night, and they replaced a section with new guardrail there. I don't know where they have that stored, but that's pretty wild. Worked all night to get out there for Saturday. Now, I watched Saturday. I had previous plans, so I know all of the Turn 2 Terribles were there Saturday night partying. Who was alive enough to make it.
Jimmy was partying a lot. There's stories of twerking in the infield. Just so that's out there.
Thank God I didn't go to the infield then for that.
I was at the campsite too.
I was. Good thing I was partying somewhere else.
It got kind of weird down in there.
I'm glad I wasn't there for that then.
There was truck bed tailgating. It was a sight to behold there on Saturday.
So massive amount of people, right? Tuscarora 50, fair week. Crowd was huge. Track was pretty fast early. Some pretty fast time trial times. I think they were
15 or maybe 16, 4 or 5, somewhere in there.
3, 4, 5. It was pretty fast, and the track kind of came around, looked pretty good there in the feature, and it ended up being pretty slick. I will say this: Friday night, one thing, I was talking to some of the late model guys. Super late models were there Friday night, and the track, like, everybody was kind of around the bottom in the feature Friday night. That was like the line to be, but everybody kept saying how fast it was, how fast it was, how fast it was. It had that shine on it, right? You didn't think it was fast. It didn't look that hooked up and fast for sprint cars the way it looked to me. But the late model guys were like looking at the times of their feature, and they were running, top, middle, bottom, whatever. But like they were running more than a second faster than they thought they would be. And when I walked across the track, it felt soft, and it still felt like sticky to my feet. It wasn't like a ton of moisture, it felt like, but they were like, couldn't believe how fast it was. Super interesting the way that worked out, that it wasn't on the fence or that didn't build a cushion, with that. But Saturday night then started off really fast, and I think it slowed down. It got pretty darn slick, and Tuscarora 50. You had two races for sure here. That was definitely a tale of 2 races between the first half, in the second half, and Anthony Macri comes away with the $60,000 to win prize. And watching that broadcast, sometimes you get a really good seat watching that. And that car, the last 15 laps, it looked like that track was a time trial track, and that car was just hooked up. Anywhere he put that car, it was straight and fast, and it was balanced, and he could cut down, he could run the top, he could do a slider line, and I don't think anybody had anything for him. Obviously,
And it
Brett
felt like
second.
he came out of nowhere.
Right.
Which is crazy to say. It felt like he came out of nowhere. He did start 19th.
19th, right? And it was interesting because like Logan Wagner was so good early. Danny was good.
GMAC was good early. Then
GMAC was coming through.
he told
Brent was up there.
He told me this reason he didn't. He kind of fell off the second half. They kind of got a little too tight. But because I said to him, I said at that state, if there wasn't a break or something, I think he had a shot to win that.
Oh, yeah, he was definitely before the break. He was the fastest car in that group up there. I feel like he was running them down from third.
Yeah, I was concerned.
And he had a good week. I know. I guess Friday night they had to run to B, but they were just happy to even make that show because I went up to him after his heat race. I said, "Damn, that sucked. You were good there. Like he actually almost got a Geo back in his heat race for the win." Because yeah, it sucks, but hey, we're in the show, and that's a big accomplishment for that team. That's a low budget team too, but that was a big conference booster for them just to make that show. But 12th to I guess third and 20 laps against those guys for just rolling the bottom. That was really good for them. They had a really good weekend.
Sure. Yeah, and like Macri 19th to first doesn't really surprise me in a long race there. But it was against some really good competition. Danny said it was the best in the country, and David Gravel had something to say about that. But
the Outlaws weren't there, and let's be real, the Outlaws are the best at what they do.
They are, but at the same time, that field wasn't slouches, and the cars that he passed to lead, the Lance Deweeses and Brent and Danny and Brian Brown. So he's not a Port Royal pro, but like he was there all week.
He had a really good week.
He really did.
He was fast all week. I think there was a few nights they probably could have won, but just things down the back half of those races, they kind of lost some pace. I think he broke Thursday at the start finish line.
And led laps Friday, right? So they were there, and that race at the end, Macri, like barring the tire going down or barring he knocks the wall down, that nobody had anything for him. And Brent finished second, and who ended up third?
Danny was third.
Danny ended up third, so an all posse.
And he had and let's be honest, we kind of expected from Danny, but Danny doesn't run Port like a lot of people think he does, but he still had a really good week, and they showed a lot of speed.
They did, and that car,
which is different for them in their previous, usually the big shows they struggle, but they had a really good weekend up there.
They did, and I watched that car. I spent a lot of time in 1 and 2 with the turn 2 Terribles.
Because you are one now. Remember that.
from that end of the track, Danny it's probably the most boring car you've ever seen go around turn 1 and 2. Because it's not sideways, it's not on the top, it's not on the bottom. He just rolls the middle, man. And just.
What do you think of the 69K then?
Well, it's just as boring.
Yeah, but 69K looks better. It's a nice baby blue.
But what I'm saying,
it's fast. They're fast. That's why it's boring, because they're fast.
But it's a different kind of way, because like that entry speed that Lance showed Friday night just was awesome. Right, even though it was around the bottom, the way he did that, the way he manipulated the track to make it work, and like Danny just was like clawing away at people. And I watched some of the video back at 3 and 4. And he was running the top of 3 and 4. It wasn't like the Macri and Mark's line of 3 and 4, but he was putting it up on the wall there, and he was getting after it and making some momentum. But in 1 and 2, I'm just telling you, it was hard to get a good picture of that car sideways, because it wasn't. It looks like he's just out there idling around in all my pictures, because his hands are straight, wheels straight, cars down, and he's running people down that way. So they definitely found something that works there, and I watched him all season there. Even guys ripping the top, he's running the middle. We're a little bit of banking on it, lets it sit, and that car runs tight. We all know it. We all see it leaning on the right rear. That car's been.
The funny thing is,
the way they do it.
The funny thing is, as a photographer, you think it's boring, but for us in my position, we think it's beautiful. We love it. It's like, why can't we get our shit
why
like
can't
that?
Our car do that?
Yeah, right.
It is balance, right? That's what you're looking for. It's balance. So, great weekend.
Speaking of Danny, him and Logan Wagner, helping out Dylan Cisney there. They had a scary crash on Saturday night, 3 and 4.
I saw AJ Flick too was getting some kudos. I think some of I saw that today. I don't know if there's something to that, but a lot of the trucks blocked when they pulled up in there to that. Right. The trucks blocked what you could see, and I saw a video today Looked like from the infield that Flo put up, and I wanted to watch it again. But AJ Flick was getting some props for maybe getting out and helping too, and they all know, those drivers know what's going on
Right,
there
yeah.
and how dangerous that is. And I like watching Logan Wagner. I can't believe how fast he got out of that car on his own. Like,
it was nuts. Like I looked at back, it looked like, I'm guessing he did spin the car on purpose just to get it stopped faster, is what.
that's correct.
Yeah.
And then he jumped out of the car and ran over there. That was what an animal. Just how,
Yeah,
just how
it's
fast he
kinda
got out.
It's kind of like your first instinct though too. You see that it's like, oh shit, they got the fire stuff on, so it's like they're right there. They're gonna get there quicker than the guys down the infield just because they're there. They're on the track.
Yeah, and more hands at that point. Like, the scary thing about that one when I kept watching that was that wing that was collapsed right on top of Dylan, and that doesn't leave a lot of extra room to get out of that car, and you couldn't
Especially
really
him,
see
and he's a tall guy.
He's a big dude, and you can't really see the left side of that car and how far that wing was down.
Right.
So he probably needed some hands to get out of that car, even if it wasn't on fire. Potentially, that's scary.
Kind of goes back to what Dakota and I talked about in the pits on, what was that, Friday, when I asked about the sideboard on the car.
Yes.
And
Well, you asked
Austin,
about the door. You
right?
said about
Is
the
it door? And Austin said he doesn't. It's hard to get out of. Austin Bishop there. So it's kind of one of those things. Like I don't know if he runs one or not. I don't remember. But
on the car they had this weekend, they did have a door on it.
yeah, and then with the wing down there, it's probably a hell of a time getting out.
So in that crash, actually, did Freddie have something break? Is that what started that?
I can't say for sure, but his left rear axle did break right at the rotor. Because I saw Eichelberger on the four-wheeler go back with the tire on it, and you saw this axle. So I don't know if the axle broke and that's what started it, but the axle broke on Freddie's car. So I think I don't want to say for sure, but that's probably what happened. The axle broke and he just slooped in and says he had nowhere to go.
I mean, that's what it looked like in the video because it was very sudden, and lately with some of the Freddie stuff going on, I even saw him chop the absolute dog shit out of Ayrton Jennington.
No.
Into one the other night.
Let's not get into that.
But yeah, that was my fire off segment last week, 2 weeks ago, I guess, or whatever. But like when you watch that video and they come into the frame, it was sudden and it was violent. That connection when Freddie hit Cisney and up into the wall. So I can only assume that something was severely broken. That car just went straight. And if it's left rear, that makes some sense, right? So not much you can control if the left rear is broken, I would assume.
Definitely not, I wouldn't say.
Yeah. All right, so
it's a real
Outlaws.
It's a real Smeal move, by the way, if he didn't have a broken
car. There we go, FDS.
He's not even in the chat.
FDS, pulled a move on me tonight, got by me, and I was like, oh, this isn't happening. Drove right back around him, and then I spun myself out. Anyway, World of Outlaws.
I don't know anything that happened there Thursday or Friday. I know Tim's and Larson were going at it pretty hard on Thursday night.
Sounded like a show. I still have not gone back and watched that one. But Larson comes away with a win.
Thursday?
Yeah, it was kind of hard to really follow anything when you were at
Port, right.
weekend.
It wouldn't load.
There was no service.
You couldn't get in the load.
Could not. So
I did go back
don't have a whole
Saturday's
lot there.
feature, though.
Who won Saturday?
Jacob did.
That's right.
He just edged out Logan.
Photo finish the line. I guess Logan was tracking him. I did watch that back. Logan was tracking him, and Jacob being solid, but he still caught the wall off 4 coming to the line. It was just enough. Meanwhile, Logan Schuart's damn near spinning off to the inside. Great finish. Good for them. Good for the Shark Racing guys. 1-2. I think Macedo won Friday. These guys have always told.
Yeah, I think he won Friday.
I mean, that's a hell of a weekend for Jacob. I think I did watch a few minutes of one of the nights, and it said his average finish out there had been 39.2 over his career or something. So, for him to be competitive and not just competitive, but running up front and winning a race is sounded like a huge victory for that team, and for them to be 1-2. And I mean, really, the year they're putting together between Logan's won a couple bigger races here lately, and seems to be getting some speed and getting back more consistent. And then, the year Jacob's had, you may not be high in points, but that's not showing the results they've had and that he's had in that car with wins. And
I think it's fair to say this is probably his best season of his
career. For sure.
He has 4 wins
of his life.
Right. He's finally figured it out and driving. he's not making the mistakes you saw maybe 3 years ago when he's leading a race and maybe sometimes the car breaks, or he just does like, why'd you do that, bud? That you had no reason to do that.
I think Jacobs won like on every probably like he's won on a half mile, he's won a little boring quarter mile, he won on a 3/8, he won at Cedar Lake, which about the same size as like a 3/8 or 4/10. So I think he's won all different types of tracks.
And it's no longer like, oh, he's on the pole, he's a chance. He's driving up there and taking it too. So it's really, really cool to see that for him.
I think his most impressive win was Knoxville because he struggles. It looks like he struggles at Knoxville, and then he's holding off Sweet. And I want to say Macedo was in his qualifying night, holding them guys off at especially anybody in the 41 car at Knoxville.
Right.
That's like an accomplishment in itself, and like he is just driving the piss out of the car every single time he gets in it.
The one that impressed me this year, and he actually didn't win it, was the Morgan Cup night at Williams Grove.
Yeah,
when he led that race until ran out of fuel.
I was literally in tears for him.
That's
like
because he won at Lincoln that week.
Yep.
Yeah,
right?
He won at Lincoln Wednesday night, and Brent ended up winning that race. And I think Brent was pulling a slider. I think he was a little faster at the moment, but like to watch Jacob do what he did in that crowd, man, like Lincoln was special, and it really was. But there was something for me in my brain that went, if he wins this at Williams Grove, they're going to burn this shit down.
Right.
And
it was.
I don't know why I felt that way when their shop is literally 5 miles from Lincoln, but it felt different that if he won this race at Williams Grove than even it did Lincoln that night.
It probably just felt like it didn't feel like it was a fluke anymore. It just felt like, oh shit, he's here, he's serious, like he knows what the hell he's doing. And
this is going to send probably the chat into an uproar, but Williams Grove is different when the Outlaws come into town. That's the main one. Like Lincoln's cool, don't get me wrong, other stuff, but a win at Williams Grove against the Outlaws is different. Even Port Royal, the Outlaws show, it's not their biggest race. Maybe Lincoln, I don't know, being those guys at Williams Grove in Posse Outlaw rivalry history matters. I feel like it resonates more with people. It matters more.
I think it resonates more with the Outlaws. I mean, when they come in there,
that's the one they are in their head.
Right, an Outlaw team comes to Penn Central, Pennsylvania. What track do they want to win at?
Williams Grove. Well, all of them, but like.
I mean, we're spoiled because we have it. And we know what their strengths and weaknesses are. But if you ask an Outlaw, like, what do you think that win meant to Brad Sweet?
Exactly, that was what I was going with.
Especially where that's where he struggles huge. He struggles.
That's what he
showed.
Like Brad Sweet. I think Brad Sweet it's his first win there, and how many tries? A guy as good as that, like
6,000 tries or something. I mean,
something like that. If it was a national open, it'd probably even bigger. Like, which I hope that doesn't happen. I swear to God, Brad Sweet.
So upcoming this week, we have
back on the Williams Grove thing though.
Oh no!
Everybody hates Williams Grove. I don't know why. I love Williams Grove. Home track. Place everyone's favorite race. I love the place.
People hate it?
It sucks. But it sucks. Half the time it sucks. Let's be honest. But I would love. I don't care. I would. If I could win at one more place in my career, it better be Williams Grove. I just love that place. I just want to win there so bad. I see your look, Jay-Z. I don't care.
Dakota's not taking the bait. He's pointing me.
That's not a Fire All segment. I'm going to tell you something about Williams Grove that has boggled my mind this year. This isn't a Fire Off, but they water the infield, right, where you guys pit.
Yeah, don't ask me why they do that. That's stupid.
It's paved. You know that's pavement, right?
That's the only thing I can come up with. Is keep the
that's down. Why they're doing it. I get it, but you know it's pavement.
But they don't need to. They don't need to.
They don't need to what?
I don't need to water the pavement. I agree.
Well, if the dirt was scraped off of it and put back in the racetrack where it really belongs, because they need all the help they can get on the actual racetrack. They're watering pavement to keep the dust down. Do you hear? I don't fathom that.
I don't understand Williams Grove sometimes myself.
The back pits are the
I'm
same
going to tell you
way.
right now, Williams Grove and the straightaways are dead slick. Tell me when there's not a bad race then.
If they don't get the lap traffic.
That place dead slick is awesome. When the straightaways are dead slick,
yeah,
one of the best tracks.
Cody gets it.
When it gets wide.
Yeah, I don't listen here, Coco. Here's the good one. We ran there, I think, in April. It was dead slick. we had a really good car. We had used tires. And there's Coco texting Jordan. I don't know why you guys are running here. This place sucks. It's hard on motors. Blow up here. And that son of a bitch has been there every week since there's a 358 race. I don't want to hear it, Coco. Now it's your favorite place.
So I've heard that a lot from drivers, though. I mean, Kyle Kuhn said it, Cody said it there, that it's hard, it's challenging.
It's just so unique.
It is really cool. Like, there is something about it for sure, and it deserves better than it's gotten, I think, as far as like care and love and taking care of it. But you know, if the fans keep showing up to these shows and these big races, and the cars do too, we're gonna keep on keeping on. Simple as that.
It's just one of those. When it's locked down, it's locked down. Anywhere is gonna be shitty when it's locked down. But everyone complains, like in time trials, when Williams drove 18-second lap times in time trials, like, oh, this place sucks, it sucks. Well, it's time trials. Who cares about it? Yeah, lap times are important, but who really cares, because that race is going to be even better.
Right.
Because it's going to be
I
slow.
see an 18-second lap in time trials, I know we're in for a good night. So back to Jimbo's point about the over-under on the top 3 starting spot for National Open, we'll know at time trials at National Open Day, because if they're running 16.9s or whatever, it's going to be locked down probably all night.
But National Open's different, because I feel like it always starts off fast because
backs down, right?
But think of it. National Open, you time trial when it's night out. It's a night race basically. And
right. Time change and everything.
Time change. You're time trialing at night. Air's cool. Moisture's going to stay in the track, so you're going to have that until it widens out. It's just how that race usually is. And what did Coco say about BAPS?
Looks like it's going to be one of the tracks giving back to support classes. I can't disagree with that here lately. I mean, BAPS, Williams Grove had some big 358 paying races that were supported well. I mean, you had 410 guys come down and race it, you know, so can't hate on that at all.
No one realizes either. Williams Grove is the best paying track in the area. Port's, I think, closer, maybe a touch better, but it's way better than Lincoln. I think we ran ninth when we ran ninth here at the Kimmel. I think it was like $750 for finishing ninth. So it's a good paying track too. Like no one sees that, but obviously we look at it because got to do business decisions.
Told you
so. Does top 3 over open? Wait, where do you think the winner of Natty Open starts on the feature? Over, under, third? I'll take deeper than third.
Yeah,
because
I feel like the winner could come from like 6th. It also depends on.
It depends on if Lance is on the pole or not, or Donnie Schatz, something like that starts on the pole.
Lance isn't even a shoe-in off the pole anymore, which is scary.
Right. What I'm saying is like things like that. Like if you put Donnie Schatz on the pole in the National Open, it's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
Or Brad Sweet.
I can't say that right now.
It's hard to even say Sweet or Shots.
The whole field is so close. I'm saying, like, I agree.
I know what you mean, but like Donnie's not Donnie. I mean, you see his couple of races where it's like, oh shit, old Don might be back, but Lance is kind of. I think what was it, Twin 20s?
Right.
Lance started on the pole.
He either started on the pole or got to the lead.
And I literally.
It was weird.
I literally looked at my girlfriend in Bristol and I said, "This race is over. Lance is gone." And she goes, "No, it's not. I feel like Danny's going to win this." Next thing I know, she's right. Here comes Danny.
To Jimmy's point, didn't Danny start 6th in that second feature and win?
Yes.
You, Jimbo.
I think it'll be a dash car, but I don't know if it comes outside the dash. I think that. I mean, you would have. I mean, it would take like a Danny, a Brent, a Macri. You know.
Danny needs to start. If it's going to be Danny, he's going to probably have to start inside the top 10.
Okay, he's not winning then. So,
but who knows? Because look what he just did at Port Royal.
Yeah, but that wasn't that big of a show. I mean, this is an outlaw show we're talking about.
I mean, you're not wrong. It is the National Open. I call it the cattle and the wine mixer.
So I think Jimmy's point here is he just wants to talk how great Macri is, and no, Jimmy, I don't think the National winner is going to come from 19th. That's what you're alluding to either. That's crazy because the Outlaws are there. So
yeah, this isn't like a weekly All-Star show.
This isn't Fair Week. We're all eating fucking French fries all night.
Or turkey dinner, or
he wants to say Port Royal's better, confirmed. That's all he wants to get here. That's not about Macri. It wasn't about that. It was about Port Royal. So anyway,
not to throw anybody under the bus. AJ Flick also said Port Royal is over. It's kind of been overrated. I'm just gonna say this.
Because he doesn't win there.
Just gonna say this. This is kind of like my theory on Port. It's not as racy and great as everybody thinks it is because just how the track is. It's either you got to run the shit out of the wall or you're just running the bottom middle. And
Oh, that sounds awful, Dakota.
No, I think his point is it depends on which cars. It depends on which car starts where that makes it exciting. Like if you have Lance.
Lance is going to do Lance things more than likely. But let's be honest, Macri or Wagner's going to win 8 out of 10 times. If Halligan gets his shit right, he's going to be really good there. But it's one or the other with Port, in my opinion. I don't think it's all that what it's supposed to, everybody makes it out to be. Facility, don't get me wrong, fantastic. I just don't think the racing is what everybody thinks it is.
You are out of your damn.
Dakota just moved to second place on my hero list.
This guy's gone to Lincoln and Williams Grove all damn year, goes to Port Royal, watches 19th to 1st, watches Lance pass all those cars. And you're telling me man, they can only listen, it's either around the top, the middle, or the bottom at the same time. That's so bad. Come on, bro.
No, I'm saying it's either around the fence or it's down middle bottom.
Okay, so
Macri and Wagner are always going to be up there just ripping the fence. That's just them. Macri got that big ass. Macri got that big ass Garrett in there. That thing's going to take him places.
Jimmy's getting angry here. We're firing Jimmy up. Might have a fire all segment from a caller.
Yeah, he decided to skip out tonight. He's banned. I'm kicking him off tonight. That's my special guest privileges.
I don't think that's how it works, but it's fine.
So what do we got going on this week in Central PA? We got more All-Star racing?
Yep.
Thursday Baps, just a regular show. Friday Outlaws, or Friday All-Stars at the Grove. Dirt Classic Sunday.
Both of them are Dirt Classic qualifiers, right? Baps and Williams Grove, Dirt Classic qualifiers.
I'm not sure if Baps is. I think Baps is just the Hotnet thing. Hotnet race?
The Hotnet thing, I believe, yeah.
Who wins Baps?
So do All-Stars race? Do All-Stars show up to Baps Thursday?
If they're allowed.
Don't they have an All-Star show there?
No.
No, I think it's just a show.
Nope.
That was last year.
It's been since the debacle of everybody getting kicked out since the Baps. I think Baps had an All-Star show. No, they did have one last year.
I think they had one last year, right?
They did. We did. We were there. We sucked.
We were there. We sucked.
So
hey, you guys had a good run at Baps last time.
Yeah, when it's dead slick. When that place, I call it the Taj Mahal of shitters because you just don't know what you're getting when you get there. Some days it's going to be good, some days it's going to be bad. But that place, more than 9 times out of 10, it's going to probably be a good race. That place is just a naturally good racy racetrack. Even when it was a true shithole, you couldn't see. That place put on really good races.
Always
just
has.
the layout. That place is just the perfect layout almost for racing.
I've said that for years growing up, going there, like literally as a child, all the way through adulthood, no matter what shape the place has been in, it puts on a good race. Now, one exception was the Gobrecht a few months ago when Danny almost lapped the field. Or he won by 8 seconds, I think, by Freddie was second. That was the shittiest.
I think he won it by a lot.
It was like 8 seconds, which is like a half a lap. Might have been more than that. Anyway, but that place is one of the raciest places ever. I mean, good surface, bad surface. You can see, you can't see. It tends to put on a good race, and it sounds crazy, but I will always miss watching Donnie Kreitz run around that place because he would start 13th, 15th, and he'd be 10th at halfway, and all of a sudden, every lap picking off a car, and that thing was a second faster than the field. Kevin Griffey chiming in, it'll always be Susky to me, not Baps. Like, I've gotten used to calling it Baps now to just kind of like be correct, but man, it's Susky.
I say it's either Susky or Baps.
It's
9 times out of 10, I'm going to say Susky too, but
right, same. I mean, I'm glad it's been resurrected to a point. I'm glad there's, the facility. They've done a nice job. They've done a nice job with the lighting. I think the surface is obviously better than it's been for a long time. I don't love the inside wall. I don't.
You're the only one that I know who loves it. That
Who
just
loves
happens to be some dickhead that drives a 90 car.
I love the character it had in the corners being different, and they are different still in each corner. But I love the tires and the way it got super flat in the bottom of 1 and 2 there. What's beeping? Is that me?
Somebody has either their microwaves going off
I'm
or
pretty sure it's my fire alarm, but I'm sure it's fine.
Did you say fire alarm?
Yeah.
Nothing to see here, folks. If you see Chris's,
it sounds downstairs, so it's probably fine.
do you wanna get that?
I should probably go look at that.
All right.
well,
Chris will be back in a minute. But so Thursday, Friday, Saturday going on around here. I'm trying to get to Baps on Thursday. Maybe Williams Grove Friday, we'll see. But then I head out of town this weekend. I go to Kansas City, unfortunately for a work trip, and I'll miss the Dirt Classic for the first time, I think, since it's ever been ran. Unfortunately, this will be the first Dirt Classic I've missed, which will be a tough deal, but that's the way it goes sometimes. What are your plans this weekend?
Who knows? Probably go to Baps Thursday. I think Troy's running it, so I might go hang out with him, watch him hopefully not suck.
Troy's running
probably,
Thursday?
I believe. That's what he told
Nice.
me this. That's what he told me this weekend at least. I think he's running. I think he's running Thursday. Probably go to the Grove Friday. Saturday, who knows? Jordan's trying to get a 358 ride to go. Coco, seeing how you're in here, I don't know if Jordan messaged you. If you got your other motor done, we can put it in the 90 for the weekend. We can go have some fun Saturday night.
Get after it.
Yeah. Hopefully there's a good field for that 358 race there too.
I can't see that there wouldn't be.
I mean, if 40 cars showed up the Grove, I hope there's even more at Baps, because I know those 58 guys love apparently running Baps or something. The rumor was those guys were trying to go to Baps or something, I thought. But
instead of the Dirt Classic?
The 358 guys
wanted
to run run Baps more, because I think this is the only race they have on the schedule at Baps.
Yeah, which is actually crazy to me because for me on a Sunday, I think the perfect combo is 410 358s. Like I love it. Now, in years past, they did have that, and it wasn't supported that well by the drivers. But I think that if they could sprinkle in some BAP shows and pay good money for them, 358s are put on a good show there. I'd love to see them race more at that place and see who shows up. But we'll see.
It is kind of weird because like when we go there, it's always like some weird division. I mean, I shouldn't say like sportsmen's aren't the weird. I think when we were there in July, I think the modifieds were there. I want to say like. That kind of makes no sense for like our area for a sprint car. Yeah.
Well, those Northeast modifieds, they do a lot of that stuff there on the weekends and the touring series. It's like West Bridgeport. What in the God? What in the actual hell?
That's Danny Dietrich's number one fan.
Jimbo. Can you hear us there, Jimbo Dietrich?
Well, who cares? So what was the deal with your beeping there?
Oh, it's fine. So I have a burner that just does whatever it wants sometimes.
So you're saying your house was almost on fire?
No, it really just gets really hot. It's not burning anything. There's no smoke or anything like that. So Brielle's down there cooking water. There's really just water boiling. It happened to me at lunchtime today. It's probably not a good thing, but it's fine.
Yeah, you might want to get that.
None of that I heard was like reasonable. What you just said, none of it made.
No, so it's, like I said, it just gets really hot. Like like an electric burner just glows orange like a brake rotor. When it's really, I don't know, whoever.
Yeah, once something gets hot, it usually turns orange.
So you have it on medium temp, and things just move along just fine. And then sometimes you just must think it's on high or something. I don't know.
Jimbo, you here with us, buddy?
No.
See,
he's trying.
He's trying to steal my 15 seconds of fame.
He's not cool like me, where he could.
Does he have an iPhone? Can he just call you and you can hold it up to the screen?
We don't want that.
Yeah, FaceTime.
We don't want that. What a
D-Gen
is right. You are a D-Gen, Jimbo.
All right. So we have.
Where were we at?
We're at Drink It or Dump It here for Dirt. So Dakota, have you watched the show enough to know Drink It or Dump It?
Nope, not at all.
All right. So, first of all,
Sorry.
You have to
Oh, we
watch
gotta,
the show
we
to
gotta
understand
hold on.
things.
We gotta play the graphic first, apparently.
I'm just
Go
trying to
ahead.
get Jimmy. I already did it. It's fine. We're good now.
All right.
Alright, well,
Does Dakota know what to do yet?
One
No.
thing with dirt, you drink it, which was something that you liked from the weekend, something to, shout out, something positive. Hey, I'm drinking to that. Or one thing, dump it. So it could be tough luck. It could be, what an idiot. It could be anything that you'd be like, nah, I'm out. I'm dumping that out. No
Anything
good.
dirt related. We're new format for this week. We usually have it all at the end of the show, which would make you sit here for 2 hours. And you still can if you want, but
Yeah, you assholes didn't do this last week when I was here. Do drink it or dump it before I left, and you all talk NASCAR.
Well, you're on it like every week.
You're not even a guest host, buddy. You're basically like Freddie Kraft. We just adopted you now. You're in.
Yeah, you just kind of wandered in one day. Here I am. Just kind of wandered in. So, Dakota, are you ready, or you want us to go first?
So if we're gonna drink to something, I want to drink to G-Mac's performance all week, just because it's G-Mac.
All right. And
Put on
It
a
was
show.
good. It was good. He put the
Yeah.
show all 3 nights. You think right?
All 3 nights. I mean, for a team like that, then do what he did on Saturday night was awesome. Just because I'm partial to G-Mac.
Okay, fair enough.
What's your
And
dump
you
it?
dump it.
Ooh, that support division and that there's late nights all. Leaving at the racetrack even though I didn't have to go anywhere, you're leaving the racetrack at midnight. I'm dumping that shit.
Oh my God! Now he has a background, and hey, I knew that picture.
He literally took one of the 2 photos of the week. I think I picked 2.
Jimbo,
Really?
buddy.
Can you guys hear me?
No,
Yeah, we can hear you, Jimbo.
Oh,
no,
cool.
we don't want to hear you. That's a Jeremy Zorkwas photography photo right there.
That is. That is.
You literally could be taking photo of the week. You come in here
During
right
his
before
dump
photo of
it.
the week, using the picture in the middle of drinking.
Can I
a
change
know
my
I would
dump?
be
Can
part
I
of the
change my
weekend.
dump it?
No,
I
taking
want
it.
to I'm gonna no, it's screw it. I'm gonna take 2 dump its.
First one was support.
A lot of alcohol abuse going on.
My second dump it is Jimmy coming in here trying to ruin the show.
I'm not trying to ruin it. So.
What's up,
It's been a really
Jimbo?
good photo so far, from what I've seen. So good job. Thanks for holding the thing.
You
Thanks
want
for
to watch
coming
the
on,
whole show?
Dakota.
So, what prompted you to jump in here? Is this the 19th, the first that it does have something to do with Maccary's?
Sounds like he has a
Yeah.
drink to dump it.
Or
Yeah, you guys did talk about that shit enough, man. That was a hell of a run.
So
I
you're gonna drink at the Macri?
That car was.
Yeah, drink it to Macri, 19th to 1st.
Just because we don't get distracted like you.
What are you talking about? This distraction shit.
You coming in
I
here
don't-
distracting us. This was a great running show until you jumped in.
You say that. You say that, but you guys missed a bunch of shit. Like,
Well,
Tell us what we missed.
Yeah, please.
yeah, start the show over here. Can you do the intro again? You want to start over?
We'll have to come on next week just so Jimmy can have his segment.
Oh, tonight's second place.
What you got, Jimmy? What did we miss, man?
19th to 1st.
we
We
literally
did it.
said that.
There was a couple other things I kept putting in chat, but it's all good. It's all good. No, you guys did a good
There's
job.
some other
You guys
things
did a
we
good
can't put
job.
in
You guys are much more knowledgeable than me. I was just trolling.
So you're drinking.
Cop
What's your
out.
dump
He's trying to
it?
be like. I think he's just trying to be like me.
So what's your dump it?
Yeah, what's your
My-
dump it?
My dump it.
It's drink it, dump
Yeah.
it. You already drank it up to Macri, so what's your dump it?
I have I have a dump it, but I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah, we know. We're not
Yeah.
engaging in that.
To today, Junior.
It's not so easy for Jimmy when he's not the host. Now he sees why I struggle so bad.
I didn't know I was coming in to drink it, dump it.
Show.
If you were tuning in like a good person.
I was tuning in. I'm trying to do shit here.
By the way,
Huh?
this is just dirt. Drink it or dump it.
Yeah, just dirt.
Right. I don't know. Dump it to the fence. R.I.P. that fence.
Wow, killer.
That took you that long to figure that one out.
The fence. Just the fence.
Just the fence.
Nothing about. Dylan Cisney or.
Well, good thing it's your turn.
But I was gonna say, you guys have to all do it, though.
Oh, were you saving that for us, or is that something?
Yeah.
We wouldn't want to forget anything. not talk
no,
about it.
you know what? Fuck it. Dump it to Danny Dietrich. Still can't get it done.
Wouldn't that be a
There we
drinking
go.
for you though?
Attaboy, Jimbo. Attaboy.
Oh yeah.
Or is that a
15th at the Natty Open. Mark
He's
it
a
down.
secret. He's a
I will-
secret Danny. I'll tell him next week.
Go ahead, please.
I will.
Do
Like,
it.
hey, that guy that you was trying to get in your fantasy football league.
Yeah, and he didn't respond.
Yeah, because you're a dick. Who would want to be in a dickhead's fantasy football league?
Speaking of which, should I pass Mason Hannigan yet?
16 of us in our dumbass fantasy league.
14. It's 14.
If there was 16, you'd have more friends.
He has to have friends first.
I'm here, bud. I support Jimbo.
My drinking for the weekend. My drinking for the weekend is Port Royal Speedway. You know, I think it was late. I didn't get home until, I don't know, 10 after 2 Sunday morning. But some of my own doing. I stayed to watch late models. I hung out with those guys for a couple minutes. And
Brett Perigo, they made him lose cornhole.
But every minute I stood there, I'm like, it's getting fucking late. So, like, I just knew what was ahead of me. And I'm like, oh, my God, I got to go. So, but Port Royal Speedway, man, every time I go there, they're welcoming. They put on a great show. You know, they don't screw around unnecessarily. I mean, I agree that having 45 305s isn't ideal, but if you were a 305 driver, is that a race you'd want to be at? Yeah, clearly. I think I would.
Yeah,
so
I mean, I'll cut Fort slack with the late night. I'll cut Fort slack with the late nights because they can't control two holes in the fence. It's gonna take a while. The Saturday night delay rushed the program along nice because of the weather and stuff, but it's gonna take time to clean up. It's gonna take time to clean up a wreck like that.
Right, and that's just bad luck, and that goes back to like what I was saying with the, you're gonna have 50 410s there. Don't put a situation where you have a late model go through the fence or whatever it is. It's your big race. I think most fans there are there for one reason. You don't need a support class.
My dump it would be the sanctioning bodies not getting together to make this a bigger show than it deserves.
We can really get into that too.
Well, even though it already is, and again, I'm not saying like I'm not saying this is Port Royal's issue, okay? Because it's not. We all know what this race is.
It's a sprint car racing issue.
That's correct. And for the Outlaws to just be on the West Coast, like there is no option, there's no choice. Somehow they got to figure out how to make this the biggest race they can in the country this weekend, because the track deserves it, the area deserves it. They've earned the right, I think, to be able to have enough leverage to make that happen, and the Outlaws need to get on board, in my opinion.
The Outlaws.
How does
but
that?
Here's my thing to that. Now the Gold Cup used to be a crown jewel race. That's what was going on this weekend. So that's a big race out in Cali. So can't really, you know what I mean? You can't really disrespect that in the same sense. But
right, that's what I'm saying. How would you fix it? Because and I think to Jeremy's point, you look at the national big races that are the crown jewels: Kings Royal, Knoxville Nationals, Natty Open. Your whatever order. Obviously, I think it's Knoxville, Kings Royal, Natty, but this race will never be able to be.
Yeah.
This race will never get there.
Especially when
this race never gets there unless they have the Outlaws, or it'd be like Knoxville where they can all be here.
And let's be honest, this race wasn't sanctioned till what?
Like 4 years ago? The 50th, maybe?
I want to say like 7 years ago. It's been a couple years. It's been a little
while, yeah.
Now I don't blame the All Stars if they're saying, "Hey, this is our gig, man. We don't need you." I wouldn't blame them a bit, but in my opinion, for $60,000 to win,
give every team that wants an opportunity to have it.
I agree, yeah. And again, it's a great show. Port Royal did everything right. They've done everything right, in my opinion, with it. You know, I remember growing up calling the place Pooh Royal because, like, it was.
We used to call it the Dusk Aurora. We used to call it the Dusk Aurora 50.
Dusk Aurora 50, right? So, what they've done with that place is nothing short of incredible. It deserves. Not that the All Stars are a bad thing, and I don't want to even say it that way, but I think y'all know what my point is here.
Exactly. It's just never going to get.
But at the same point, I also think the All Star sanctioning body has made that race what it is. At the same point,
it's fair.
Sure. I mean, I think it needed.
Yeah, I think they kind of helped the dirt class.
I get it, but look at what
Yeah.
that race is with the All Stars.
Right. This is
Right.
the
So,
biggest All-Star
obviously,
race on the schedule, right?
There's something tied to
yeah.
it saying.
I
There's
would.
something
I mean,
tied to it saying-
arguably.
Right before it was a sanctioned race, it was good. I mean, it's a race that I know was a big race, and I never went to Port Royal when I was younger. And now you add the All Stars, and look what it is. Imagine
Right.
if it was the Tuscarora 50, and any sprint car team in the country could show up and race it because there's not conflicting schedules.
Had it a couple years ago when they did the rained out one, and it wasn't that great.
Right.
Yeah,
I
when it
mean,
got rained out, it did become an outlaw race.
Right, in October. It has to be a fair week. It has to be
Yeah.
to make this
It
race
has
a
to be
fair week.
I
with
agree.
everything else. And I don't know if Gold Cup's always been on this weekend, or if it just so happened it fit their schedule, or I'm not familiar with that.
It
but,
may have been because the Outlaws have always been out west during this, during this month, basically.
But I see what Jeremy's saying. Like, this race is never going to pass a Natty Open, Nationals, Cage Royal, not without the Outlaws coming in and giving those guys a chance. Because like the All Stars, I know we talked about it on
I
Thursday,
bet you within
but,
5 years the payout will happen.
payout maybe, but the prestige won't. And I doubt the winners goes let that happen.
I don't know.
do
The
care
Grove, the Grove did make it 75K when.
Right. I
50
think
was
Port's going to get to the
50.
point where they can maybe pay 75. The Grove's like, hey, give our balls a tug. We're going to go to 100 now. Well, that's the shitty
Put
part
the
with the
pressure
Grove.
on Grove to keep
The
it
problem
going.
with the Grove needs to be ahead of that. They need
Yeah.
to be
All
doing
that is
now.
like winning for sprint car teams and drivers. That's all that sounds like to me.
Right. Exactly.
But here's another thing. Where else? So the big three crown jewels: Knoxville, Kings Royal, Matty O. They're all three sanctioned by the Outlaws.
Right.
I know.
And all the All-Star guys can make all those races.
Yep.
So you have, it's not, I don't even care if the All-Stars, I think Jeremy's point exactly is this, let the All-Stars sanction this.
Yeah.
But the
I
Outlaws need to find a
agree,
way to let those guys come race it. Or find a way
Outlaws
to
are
make
too
it.
greedy though.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
We're going to see what happens next year with that high limit deal.
I was just going to say that. You never know.
Because
that's a game changer.
I'm sure. I mean, Casey being hurt now probably. I mean, obviously that didn't help him with his outlaw deal, but it also says something where he's racing, but he didn't go out west. I feel like.
No, he was here all weekend. And
Yep, and he's staying again. I think for this weekend. I'm not sure. I think he's staying this weekend.
All right, Chris, what do you got?
my dump it was actually Casey Kane because it looked Thursday.
You're
I
welcome.
switched it.
You're
I
welcome
switched
for
it
that,
before he
Snugboy.
kept going on. Like Thursday, he finished last in the heat race. Looked so uncompetitive. Like, I mean, maybe it's time to look in the mirror, man. You've been through a lot of hard hits or whatever's going on. That
He
car
started up front.
and fell to the last in the heat. Now, was it Friday? He redeemed himself somehow, a little bit, I think it was. But like Thursday, my God, like, dude,
Yeah.
we know Casey Kane can drive. We know he's a talented driver, or was, or is, or whatever. What the hell is that?
I don't want to know.
It's a
I don't
Coach-
want to know.
Is that
It's
me?
a Coach Jimmy Barr.
Is that a
That's
silhouette
probably-
of me?
That is what you look like trying to murder that praying mantis. So that's a dump it out too. You killed
With
the
the
praying
brightest
mantis.
Come on
flash on
now.
the planet. That's a Jimmy Barr outline right there, a silhouette.
That is
It didn't even blind me. I didn't even know what happened.
You were blinded by Smeel strings.
I mean, let's be honest. I'm kind of glad that like, that's all we see of Jimmy is right there at Little Circle.
Wow.
Oh, just wait till
Thanks,
till
Dakota.
a week. No, dump it definitely. Like, I don't know what's going on or what they're doing, or obviously I'm not privy to that. But like, it's kind of last in the heat in that field for a guy like of that team of that caliber, if that makes sense. Like, that's not good. Especially the year he's had. He's taken a lot of big hits. Like maybe I don't know. Maybe he needs to rethink his strategy a little bit.
I have
Not racing.
a secondary drinker real quick. Shout out to Cale Thomas, 10th in the Tusky 50 in the Rudzig 49. Pretty good buddy of mine. Got COVID, so shout out to him. He had a rough night and transfer Friday night in the A, and then got to start on the pole of the A main for the Tusky 50. So shout out to Cale coming into PA. It's been a while since he's been around and racing, and brought in a car that he's not raced a ton in, especially lately, and got a top 10 out of it after 50 laps on the Tusky 50. Just a quick little shout out to my buddy Cale.
I'll agree with that because I actually took me a minute to realize that he was still up there running top 5 there for a while.
He fell back once he got I lost the lead. He fell back pretty quick, but then he just kind of hung around that 7th to 10th range, and he hung tough. And that car fell off in the B the night before. I happened to be shooting 1 and 2. I took the camera down to 1 and 2 during the B main, and he was in a transfer spot and ended up 6th, I think, or 7th, and it just fell off a little at the end. The car was so tight, you couldn't even get the damn thing to turn. They had way too much right rear wing or something in it, and shout out to those guys though for hanging around. Top 10 at Tusky.
Right. I had with that. Jason Whittle was my drink it for the same rain. He was up there. He finished 3rd one of the nights.
Justin Whittle finished 3rd. Jimmy, what were you saying?
I had a secondary drink it as well.
Let's hear
it. Just want to give a shout out to Kevin Griffey and the whole Griffey family, and also the Port Royal EMS. I had a little family emergency going on, and they were very helpful that entire night after the 50 with that situation. I want to give them a big shout out. Really helped me out. Wouldn't be able to do it without them, and all, of course, of all the D-gens too that helped out with that. So yeah, I just wanted to give a quick shout out, Kevin Griffey, really, and the whole Griffey family and Port Royal EMS crew for helping out.
Yeah, man. Prayers to Jimmy and his family. Make sure, hopefully, everybody's on the up and up, and good things ahead for you, man.
Yeah, things looking better, but thanks to all of them for sure.
Yeah, man, no doubt. So we're gonna probably go into our next segment here. We're gonna take a little break. We're gonna do photo of the week. We're gonna come back and we're gonna talk some.
Photo of the week.
Such
a wholesome little boy.
Got Jimbo. It is Devin Borden, happy as can be. Look at it, man. There's is there not a happier guy ever? Look at this guy.
That was a good time. Chasing Lance
around
like a dog.
There's another photo of the week here. I took this one Friday night during the A main, and it was so there were vapor trails all night. I didn't really catch many, but this vapor trail only occurred when they cut the car to turn the car into the entry on 1,
so
and it didn't.
Like Danny.
It didn't last long, but it was there and it was aggressive, and that's probably one of the more unique vapor trail pictures I've seen. And the lighting right there is really difficult at Port Royal, but you do some editing and bring out some colors, and it was clear enough. There's some noise there for sure, but just a cool angle for sure.
Always the best.
Well, I appreciate it, man. We're going to come back and we're going to talk some NASCAR. I'll probably let Chris talk the whole time because I did not watch one lap.
I'll do a pavement drink it just because Bubba won. I'll get that out of the way because
I'm thinking it's going to be 15 minutes after this break, Dakota, if you want to hang out.
Yeah, dude.
I honestly didn't watch it, so I can't tell you anything from it.
That's perfect.
All I know is I woke up from a nap and I saw Bubba. And I'm like, oh shit. If you're gonna do it in 15 minutes, I'll hang up for that just so I can say that again.
Okay, well just don't ruin the show before we get there.
I'll try not to. I can't make it.
All right, we'll be right back. Once I find the thing. There it is.
Tonight's second place finisher. Plenty of fans here, Brett, and a solid second place finish.
Yeah, I got to shout out the Turn 2 Terror Boys over there. They're all a bunch of good guys to hang out with, talk to. I really like them.
All right. So I guess we're back. We're all ready. Quick break here. So NASCAR, obviously, Port Royal. All of us were there. Not a big list. I know John Hunter Nemechek dominated the truck race.
I didn't even know he won the truck race.
I didn't know
I
that.
do. Well, good thing I did my research today.
Truck race?
It was a truck race. I had to look that part up first. So he won stage 1, stage 2, and passed Carson Hocevar, whatever he says his name.
Hocevar, yeah.
It won a white flag lap to win at Kansas. So that happened. I'm not sure who got eliminated. It's a truck race, so it's fine. Xfinity, no idea. Didn't watch it. Was that Port Royal?
Noah Gregson won after it rained after stage 2.
The more you know. No, went back to back. Is that actually what happened?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I watched the
So
highlights.
Noah's won back-to-back weeks?
Yep.
Cool. Good for Noah. You know, him and Ty Gibbs, we talked about it last couple weeks. It's going to be down to those two. I think them, Allmendinger, and Justin Allgaier for that series. So, all of them, I think everybody's at Bristol this week. Is that true? Truck's there as well?
I think so.
I would think so. I would think so at this point. I think they race almost every single week now, all 3 series from here on out, but I could be wrong on that.
So we'll apologize in advance here that all of us were at Port Royal all weekend, and
some of us may have been a touch hungover on Sunday to watch it.
That was 3 of the 4 of you here were.
But I still watched that race.
I
on
woke
Sunday.
I woke up, checked my DraftKings. I beat Jordan on our DraftKings thing.
There's also
and been shitting the rest of them because of Tyler Reddick.
I was just happy I wasn't wet when I woke up.
there was also football going on Sunday, which is something NASCAR's going to have to deal with here.
This is not a football podcast.
No, I'll watch.
I know it's not.
I'll watch NASCAR because Dallas sucks and Dak's out for like 6 to 8 weeks.
Dallas does suck.
And
Fuck the
Mac Jones is-
Cowboys.
Mac
At
Jones
least
is
you
backing
could
him,
deal with that in week 1 and not week 8 and think you had hope. Like at least you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, and I'm glad I didn't listen to Troy Wagaman Jr. on my DraftKings betting on Sunday because he told me to take Dallas, and I said, "You're stupid. They're going to find a way to go 8-8."
There's 17 games anymore, so we'll just go.
That
Yeah,
there's-
well, the other
like I
game is
said,
going to be a tie.
They're going to find a way to go 8-8 somehow, probably if they can manage to win 8 games.
The franchise is going to fold halfway through.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to add a
So-
photo to the podcast into the NFL football.
Anyway, so fast forward through Noah. Good job, Noah. You're killing it, bud. Sunday, Cup race, Kansas. That was interesting. It was fun to watch. I watched 95% of it. Bubba Wallace wins.
That's actually an accomplishment because I fall asleep during it and lose interest. I'm not going to lie. It is an app.
So
But this was a fun race to watch.
yeah, I mean
I'll wait for radioactive.
storylines abound there, right? I mean, I can't wait to listen to our, the podcast that mirrors what we do and takes all our ideas so we'll run them clear.
And you can't even say we listened to it first. It don't even dropped yet, but we're recording right now.
Yeah, I think it's usually out. Is it out late tonight? Sometimes
It should be somewhere while we're filming. It drops, and they just take all of our shit. I don't know how they do what to do, but it's fine.
Bunch of hacks. So, bunch of Alex Bowmans, bums. So, no, Bubba won, and I watched the end of that thing, or on Twitter, kind of followed on Twitter a little bit, and there was a lot going on here. I had football on, and there was kids running around. So, it's just like they talk about, what do the haters got to say now? Because he won that race, he
everything perfect.
green flag laps,
did it
what he
convincing.
needed to do.
Right.
What's that?
And let's be honest,
Convincingly is what Jimmy said.
and he's been running good
For the last 2 months.
2 months.
For
So
2
you can't
months,
really
he's
say
gotten
you can't say it was a fluke, and you can't say it was a restrictor plate.
Can't say it rained.
Right.
He straight up took it to him. He had a 2-second lead and was gone. And
Did he
they
take
called
the
it-
lead with like 68 to go? Sorry.
He led the last 58 laps.
Okay.
He had it going into green flag pit stops, beat Christopher Bell by a whole second, pit entry, pit exit, like the total time with everything. They picked a second up on Christopher Bell through that sequence, and it worked out. He beat Denny by a second. I think it's worked out to it, but Ben Kozlowski wouldn't get the hell out of the way. But Bubba even said post race he was just managing his stuff, and Denny was driving a shit, but he definitely caught the wall at 4 once. So it wasn't like Denny laid over for him. You can't even say that because you could see it. It was like 2.5 all the way down. It was so cool to see it.
It's
Just
not going to lay over
perfect.
for anybody. Even
No, he would have wrecked him for the win if he wanted.
And he
to.
still ain't going. He's definitely not going to lay over for Bubba because he called
He's
him out
asking
last
for
year. He called him out last year for running like shit.
Right,
So
and
he's going to put pressure on his driver to see if he's the real deal or not. You would think.
It was fun to see midway through the race. You had Denny Hamlin on the outside of a 3 wide deal, Bubba on the inside, and I think it was Christopher Bell, some other car in the middle. Bubba squeezed the shit out of both of them to make sure Denny he'd get those spots. He was driving aggressive when he needed to, all race long. He ran in the top 5, 85% of that race. Other than they had a loose wheel, had to go to the back, and then drove all the way to the front again. So, and everyone's like, oh, it's a 45 team. No, it's a 45 number. They taped it on there. It's a 23 team. So
I was say because I saw a picture, video clip of him hugging his crew chief Booty Barker. So clearly it's a 23.
Right, and Booty was so cool after the race too. He's just like I'm gonna care what anyone says. I know how good he is. I know how good we are. We got the win to prove it. So leave us alone. Throw rocks at us now. Like,
He locked himself into the next round of the owners' playoffs too with that win.
right.
So this is getting him the playoff experience that they were talking about.
Because they're treating it like the playoffs. It's because I actually watched the whole press coverage today because I had nothing else to do. And at the end of it, Denny Hamlin goes to Bob Proctor and goes, "Are we leading the owner points?" And I think Bob goes, "Yes." He goes, "Yeah." They're just so it's a big deal for that team and those partners and all that.
A lot of money
big
there.
deal for Bubba.
There's a lot of money there at the end of the year.
Well, honestly, it's the first time in a lot of years that I've heard about the Owners' Championship and it being something that mattered to anybody outside like NASCAR teams.
And apparently
Like,
it pays more money too, which is
Well,
awesome.
and it's because usually it just mirrors the drivers' championship, so you're just kind of assuming. But this year it doesn't because you have these different things going on.
Right, and Ryan Blaney's
So
not
the
in.
the owners championship is like a playoff system. I thought
Same.
that
Yeah.
It matches.
Okay.
It matches the drivers, and the
Did that
reason
just
why.
change? Did
No,
that
it's always been that
change?
way.
Okay, I
But
thought
the problem is Kurt Busch won a race,
right. So he
so
was
the 45 car won a race, so he's locked. That team is locked in.
I
no
thought
matter
they
who
did it the
drives.
way I thought they did the owners the way it should be, where it's
Oh yeah,
just
see,
long.
thank you.
uh-oh.
Nope, it's a playoff
Nope.
format as well.
You're gonna
I
get
gotcha.
Dakota to get you to fire off, but not Jimmy.
No, I'm saving the fire off. It's not time yet. But at least
Not a
Dakota agrees
premature
with me on 2 big topics now: the point system and Williams Grove. Anyway,
You're not gonna catch Chris with a premature fire off.
no,
Ain't gonna happen.
not for Jimmy anyway.
So
No.
medicine for
That's
that.
not what she said.
Well, I said for Jimmy. So,
Fucking
so
rock, man.
kind of.
I'm
Big
I'm
day
just
for-
admiring this new picture by Jay-Z with Rico, by the way.
It was a
Isn't
close.
that awesome?
It almost got it to be photo of the week, but I do vapor trails. They're big deals around here, and you can't disrespect Jimbo like that and not put him in the show. Even though
I don't know what it is about backfiring sprint cars, but man, is it pretty.
Well, the one that you took of JG at Lincoln the other week, he loves that picture.
The coloring, the dark with the oh, man, I'm so good at this. God damn it! All right, so I don't know what else
Some
to tell
other
you.
people, a couple other people say otherwise.
so big,
Hey,
it's a
no,
big
we ain't
deal.
gonna do that. We ain't gonna do that now.
We're not supposed to be getting you in trouble. Don't get yourself in trouble, okay?
That's why I said we're not gonna talk about it.
So
Wait,
Bubba Wallace wins
Keep going on with NASCAR. Let's go.
Somebody saying I'm not good or you're not good. Wait, what?
both. Yeah,
Oh,
all
boy,
of it.
here we go. Gonna get Jay-Z to fire off now.
We don't need
Oh,
to bring
don't
up
get
all
me
your.
started.
We're not bringing up Facebook arguments from the past.
I mean, it
about
is a
people saying you're not
Oh,
good.
yeah. Listen,
It is.
crazy senile old men turns out are worth my time a little bit because I know I was right, but like, what the fuck? All right, so anyway, It's
I
Harvick.
gotta get
It's
them
Harvick.
fired up a little bit. It's fun.
So
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. So we have that. Bubba Wallace
Speaking of old
wins.
men, how about Kevin Harvick?
Right. No playoff driver wins. Points straight out. Harvick is sitting 35 points below the cut line. He has to win Bristol this week.
and
Is he
has
done?
before.
He has
Can.
before. He's
And
not.
can.
I wouldn't want to be the leader if he's on my ass at the end of that race. That
I
would
mean,
not
if you're
that
assuming-
situation.
I'm assuming Kyle Busch is out of the.
No, he's just outside. He can race at points. I think he's 2 points out.
Gotcha.
It's still
Because
super
I know-
tight.
Gotcha.
Right, outside of Harvick, who's like super loose.
I haven't watched the past 2
Um,
weeks, so I can't really. That's why I'm asking.
The
Yeah.
four cars out right now are Kyle Busch, Chase Briscoe, Austin Dillon, shocker, and Kevin Harvick. But Dillon, Briscoe, and Kyle Busch are only like 2 or 3 points
Right.
out of the cut line. It's very, very tight.
So Austin
And
Cindric's
Kyle
on the
Busch
cut
probably
line.
Kyle Busch would probably be in because I guess he wrecked again Sunday or
Spun out
yesterday.
Spun
by
out.
himself.
Yeah.
Then he wrecked
Didn't hit
last, or he blew up under caution at
while
Darlington.
leading.
Was
Poor guy.
Darlington last week?
Yeah.
I did actually see that.
So Austin Cindric, last guy in right now, 2 points to the good. I think over Kyle Busch. I think Harvick obviously must win. So Jeremy, I know your answer.
Yeah. No, has to. I mean, he has to win, and 35 points behind the next guy who's in the playoffs.
It's not a good time.
That guy's going to be going for it, right?
He's
So,
virtually eliminated unless he wins.
Right,
Yeah,
but
for sure,
I
because-
guess my question is, does he win Bristol? As a Harvick fan.
There's no way to predict that this year, but he's won Bristol in the past. Now this different car. Have they ever ran this car on asphalt yet? No, right? They haven't ran on the concrete.
Dover.
Next
Dover.
gen on concrete. Bristol.
Dover was a good race.
We don't know what's going to happen to Bristol. Is what I'm saying. So we have no clue.
It's true.
That car's had speed.
I wouldn't want to be in Harvick's shoes.
Right. The car has had speed. I'm not going to argue that. Even if the results didn't show, even this week with the way that crash went and how it happened,
That was
he's
just
going to be there.
bad luck.
It was just weird.
Talk about
weird
dirty
the way it
air.
went
Dakota
down.
said it earlier. Dirty air. With Logan Wagner at Port doing a wheel stand. Same thing. They came across Harvick's nose so quick, just jacked the car right up into the fence. So it was like, damn.
Yeah, and he had a quick reaction. It was gone. So, can that team win at Bristol? 100%. Is it going to be an absolute challenge? 100%. Do a lot of things have to go right? 100%.
And if he
Can it
wins
happen?
Bristol, the field should be worried because he's done this. Championship year? They kept winning cutoff races to keep moving
That's
on.
correct.
All the way
Keep
up to win at Homestead. So.
And he's going to be very aggressive. And I also think my bold prediction with this race is that it's going to be one of the best Bristol races in the past decade or plus. And everyone's going to be saying, stop fucking throwing dirt on it. Keep it this way. Because the Bristol night race has always been really, really good. But I think this is going to be with the playoffs and everything and the way this next gen car has been, I think it's going to be one of the better races. And I definitely think Kevin Harvick, my gut feeling is he's going to be up there, at least in the mix to win, and something's going to happen.
He's going to make it fun, for sure,
Yeah.
I think. Tyler Reddick is not in as bad situation as Kevin Harvick. He has a tire go down. He's pole sitter. Stupid fast all early run. But I think I saw 4 times this year he's been pole sitter or fastest car in the race and had a tire issue. And he his comments post-crash were not exactly charming. So I think he kind of alluded to it a little bit that team, they got to figure something out because every time they're fast, they have a tire issue. They're pushing those numbers a bit too far. He's just above the cut line, though, right?
Yep.
But he's within. He can lock in if things go right through the race. But
the only guy actually locked into the next round, since it's been 2 non-playoff drivers, is Christopher Bell. Joey Logano is virtually locked in. I think he was 2 points out from actually locking in going into this race, so he's pretty much locked in. But otherwise, it is a crapshoot from about 5th on back to about 15th. And then you throw Kevin Harvick with the wild card in there. It's going to be wild. There's going to be a lot of ups. There already has been a lot of ups and downs with these playoff drivers. And, with them only being a couple points separated from each other, it's going to be really exciting.
And you see some of the playoff teams, we talked about it last week with Suarez's team. And then this week he does the same thing. He had a speeding penalty, I think it was. Was that right? And then had an issue.
Or uncontrolled equipment or something like that.
Right.
I don't know.
We talk about Trackhouse not ready for that next level. More examples of it. Chastain's not the guy he was since Pocono. He's still aggressive as hell, but he's not getting the results anymore.
I mean, who do you think will be the Chastain victim this week, or will there be more over or under on 2?
Probably Harvick again. I wouldn't want to be in front of Chastain either.
I was going to say, I'd give him at least over 1. 2 is probably a good number.
It's Bristol, and it's Ross Chastain and aggressiveness.
Yeah.
Do you put the blame on Harvick's wreck on Chastain at all?
No.
Okay.
I could see.
They were too wide. They're racing each other. They're not concerned about him.
I was listening to MRN during this, and they were fighting over that exact thing. Chastain versus Harvick, whatever. But at the end of the day, they were too wide. Harvick was looking to make it 3 wide, and they ran out the corner and said, "No, not today, old man." And bad luck happened.
I don't even think it was that. I think they're racing side by side.
Right.
Like
like
it was Bubba and Chastain.
They don't even care.
I mean, they're trying to survive and not stay off the wall themselves, stay off the wall themselves, not worried about what Harvick's doing. They're racing each other, and Harvick just had to make a decision. He had a run, and it didn't work out.
He could have just chastained him, and he would have been in better shape.
He was going to chastain Bubba, though. So we go back to Kansas, just a time boat and all. I think it was a fun race. You had to take momentum. When you had to run, you had to go. I mean, it was crazy. The way it was comers and goers, tire wear, the whole thing, green flag pit stops, and just I think Kansas is kind of what Atlanta used to be.
Yeah.
I
was gonna say kind of like Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Chicagoland kind of fills that void because I missed that track. And that was one of the better mile and a halves. Abrasive surface, can run up against the wall, lots of different lines.
Sounds like Port Royal. All right, so
so you all didn't see it.
No.
So your votes on Kansas don't even count. But since you brought up Chicago and tracks that he loves and misses, we're skipping the order. North Wilkesboro coming back, All-Star Race 2023.
Let's go. Let's go.
I think it's great. I think it's big. It's going to sell out. It's going to be
It's
massive.
fun, but it's also what the fans and the drivers want. They want more short tracks, and they want to go back to this. And I think NASCAR got so lost. Look at their stands; they're empty. They need to be doing this stuff. Like, remember the trucks used to go to Rockingham.
Right.
The trucks went back to Rockingham, I should say, and that was
the
cool
first
to
year.
race.
And the stands are so empty though because it's a truck race. They can't do that alone anymore.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Did you guys listen to the press conference of
No,
this?
I did not.
So I got lucky last week and had turned on the press conference in North Carolina. The governor, Dale Jr., got up and spoke. Some NASCAR, Steve O'Donnell was there and spoke. And they admitted it. And they said, listen, we got away from our fan base, our core. We got away from it. We know that we need to get back to it. And this is the start of that. And we're going to make this happen. And kudos to NASCAR. Shout out for them listening and actually being aggressive and taking a chance here because it's the All-Star race. It's a big risk. It's a big leap. They're not going to tear up the asphalt and do dirt this fall, right? They decided hey, and I think this they announced they're not tearing up the dirt. They already knew this was a possibility, and it's why they didn't tear up the dirt. They already knew that. They already knew that NASCAR being involved in 2023. They couldn't tear up that asphalt. They could not tear up the asphalt, put dirt down, knowing to have any shot of running there in 2023. So I think this was in the works obviously a long time ago, and I think when North Wilkesboro came out of the track and said we're not going to do dirt this year, they had a really good idea this was getting done. So
let's be honest, if they would have made that a dirt track like they wanted to.
Awful racing.
It would have been a shit show because
new dirt down. They were just going to use what was there.
The track probably would have been good. It would have been rutted to shit probably. But I mean, we were thinking about going. We actually thought about going when we saw the 410 race just because it's North Wilkesboro.
Right.
But I don't think it would have probably been.
It would have killed all the momentum.
Yes. And apparently, from what I've seen and heard, all the races they had this year have been sold out. It looked like standing room only, and the races have been pretty good.
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
I think that race Dale Jr. was in kind of sealed that deal. They're going to sell out, right? But it's not that many seats to sell, and it's already priced out. They said the website crashed. They couldn't even get people couldn't get tickets the opening day. Yeah, pre-orders.
Pre-ordering, right?
That shows that shows that people are interested.
But
that's not a lot of people show up.
They have to be careful and not have. So there's already talks. There was big crowds in modifieds. The whole month had big crowds, but the infrastructure issues for that late model race, if they don't figure that out in some way, even for the All-Star race, Kentucky died because of how their first race went.
Yep. I was just going to say that.
Everyone begged for Kentucky for years. They got it. That first race, half the people didn't make it in the stands, and it was a slow. And the track sucks too. But
I think they had to delay one of the. Did they have to delay the late model race or something like that? They had to delay because they couldn't get everybody in there and all that.
Right.
But could this be one of those places where they don't just throw it on the schedule and they just maybe use it as that novelty piece? Maybe run like the Clash there, or maybe not go to it. but not go to it every year, maybe like an every other year thing where it's like.
I think that's perfect. I agree.
No,
I think that's
like-
perfect.
If you think about it, like all these like Nashville, I think was Nashville last year. That's probably a decent crowd. But what was the crowd compared to like this year? Like,
Right.
I think that's some of the thing. Like NASCAR needs to change it up some more because you
Yep.
go to these same places, it's the same product every single time. So who knows what they do with it?
I don't think it has anything to do with the crowd that shows up there. It has to do with how many people watch it on TV.
Right.
In my opinion, they're going to fill that place. It's NASCAR North Wilkesboro. They're going to fill
Right.
it. I don't think there's any question, right? If they
Right.
get people in the track, they get people out of the track, and people are safe at the track, infrastructure, buildings, facilities. They know they have work to do, and they admitted that in this press conference, saying it ain't going to be perfect, but we're going to have something where you can come and enjoy a race, and we're going to sell out. And they know it. That 18,000 tickets or whatever means nothing.
No.
Like, they're going to sell them.
Fox
People would stand
There's
there
gonna
and
be
watch
there's gonna be a
this.
shit ton of people watching it too because it's the return of North Wilkesboro.
But
Like you said,
that's-
it's all about that TV
that's
right
where
As
it's
now,
long
too.
as Fox
Yes.
promotes it that way, and
Fox.
I don't see how they
Fox
don't
said
promote
that
it that way.
one of their deals with trying to for the All-Star race was that they wanted a more grassroots option for the All-Star race. They wanted to get the hell out of Texas, which that's the biggest
Well,
part of the
let's-
story, I
let's-
think.
There's
Time
two
out,
things
time
that
out.
are
I'm gonna
just two
time
things.
out.
Oh,
Just
boy.
stop. Just stop. Time out. This is the problem with the All-Star race in Texas. You go to a
It sucks.
racetrack where you got to put that stupid ass PJ1 bullshit down. Why? Why?
Because it's
What?
a shit racetrack. That's why.
Exactly. So why go to a shit racetrack for your All-Star race?
Right here.
All-Star
Right here,
race should be
bub.
the.
Right
Yeah,
here.
it was all about the money. It was all because it was the rest of mine.
Everybody hated it. Everybody
doesn't
hates
matter.
that PJ1 shit.
They took a race away from
They still-
Texas, and they
they
said if
still
you're going to
cash
give
that
a
check.
okay, because these racetracks are money making machines. This wasn't about the fans. This year, this North Wilkesboro announcement is. But Eddie
I think
Gossett
that
said, "You're going
Coliseum-
to take a race from me. I want the All-Star race."
And I was
Show me
like,
the
we
money.
all thought that Coliseum race was actually going to be. It was kind of a cluster, but we all thought it was going to be. But that was actually a good race. Beating the band on that little, whatever you want
Yeah.
to call it.
I think
But-
doing North Wilkesboro
but-
in this format's perfect.
Right.
But I'm just glad we're not going to. They're not having another All-Star race where you got to put glue on the damn track, and then you might as well just say, might as well just do this. Because you're not racing. You're literally in that one little groove. I hate NASCAR and PJ1 racetracks. I don't watch them for a reason because it's literally just you're racing in this little box. You go out of it, you're screwed. Go underneath it, you're screwed. You better be right in that. It's basically watching a sprinkler race in a rubber.
Right. So I think the other thing too that is kind of ironic, and this is something that my problem with the All-Star race, leaving Charlotte is like Charlotte's not a million times better than maybe Texas, but it's close to home for the teams. They save a ton of money.
Right.
Yep.
I like
So
that.
North
though, too.
Wilkesboro is not that far away either, by comparison to Texas. And Texas is one that took one of North Wilkesboro's dates in '96 for '97 season.
Yep.
So they can go get fucked. Even though the
But-
same people own both places, that's not the point.
So this is what I kind of think also with what NASCAR should do with this All-Star race. They had it at Bristol 3 years ago,
And it wasn't that exciting.
but maybe
Not
what
putting
NASCAR
neon
news to do.
Do not put neon glow in these cars. Stop it right
Underglow
now.
lights.
You stop it
And
right the
that's-
fuck now.
that's-
Yeah, see, and
And then they
that's
put
the
the
one thing
numbers
you
in
remember
my-
from that race, isn't it? You know?
The stupid lights and the stupid number location that we have today.
Right.
But I think what NASCAR might need to look at is doing the All-Star race at different tracks. That might help them too.
I think they're looking at that.
Because it's an All-Star race. These guys are the best, supposedly the best in the business at what they do.
They're
They
gonna
should
kill
be able
tires
to-
here.
They should be able to go to every. They should be able to go to every racetrack like they already do, and have an All-Star race at every racetrack.
The All-Star race is about to show.
I would rather
Yeah,
a championship race be at every racetrack.
I think the All-Star
Weather
race
permitting,
should go
obviously.
to IRP in 2024, confirmed.
Or the
Yeah,
championship.
I'd be
I think
down
they
for
need to
that.
go
I'd
to
be down for that.
I think
that
if they really want to do these short track races and return to their roots, my whole problem, and I said it when I first heard about the North Wilkesboro thing, I think I said it on the podcast, where I wasn't a huge fan because we all glamorize it from back in the day, but those 500 lap races were boring as fuck back in the day. It would not fit with the NASCAR product that you have now. Whether you liked it or hated it back then, it wouldn't fit in with the product that they have now. Now, I was thinking about it a little bit later. I'm like, all right, well, stage racing and stuff like that might not be so bad. You know what I mean? That could help it. But with the All-Star format, you have heat races. It's intense. You know what I mean? Every lap counts. Pretty much, and it's just for straight up money. It just I think the All-Star race is perfect for him. I think that'll be perfect for a lot of these smaller tracks. If they do go to like IRP or something like that, or
National Fairgrounds 2024.
Yeah.
We're saying about seating capacity. I was just thinking about National Fairgrounds. They were talking about doing that. They don't got the room for that. We went out there for that outlaw show they had, and that little shit show boring they had. That place was jam packed, and our grandstand is not big at all. Like they might only fit 10,000 people in that, so I don't know how that will work. They don't have the seating. I don't think they have the seating for that.
TV money, boys.
Yeah, they have contracts set up with this to turn that into. I don't think it'll be ready for 2024, but they already have the groundwork laid for that to be turned into like a multi-use facility where they renovate it all and it becomes a concert place. It becomes.
Yep.
Well, I do know they do have like a stage, and I think they have a couple soccer.
No. They're going to turn it into something big, like full renovation, more seating, so it's a multi-use type place.
Right, but in the same sense, the grandstands that they have, I hope they keep that because it's. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it's a covered grandstand with the concrete seats. Like I hope they keep that, then add the seats around it because that's such a cool feel to it. Like it's definitely an old school feel. And when we were there with the Outlaw show, that was jam packed. That was really cool. Like I don't even know how many people there probably even knew anything about sprint car racing or racing in general because you're in Nashville. You're there to get drunk and party and all that stuff, which I did not get to do. Jordan, I'm still upset with you about that one. But that was the atmosphere of that place was really cool. And it's Nashville too. It's a big city. Like you're literally here's the city, here's the racetrack. Like that was so cool. So I hope they kind of keep that fairground feel, but do add some seating to it if they go back. If when they do go back to it.
Best sports town in the country, confirmed.
Jesus Christ. Anyway. So tomorrow, this is Monday, September 12th. So tomorrow, Kyle Busch is apparently making an announcement.
I wonder.
Allegedly on RCR.
We'll
see what happens. I could. How funny if he just announces he's staying in the 18 car after this whole weekend of hitting one of the 8 car.
Definitely not happening.
That would be hilarious.
It would be such a Kyle Busch thing to do. Build this whole thing this way and just go.
How many people would feel stupid?
It would burn all the Twitter down. It would be hilarious.
I think we all probably feel stupid.
We all feel pretty stupid for believing it.
I think he's out, but I kind of
98% sure he's going to RCR from everything I've read today. Sounds like the 8 car is it. So
no.
I did see a report.
Yeah, I read today that RCR insured him that he would still have a ride there. So this might be a 3rd car deal for RCR next year.
I saw that. There's a couple options for a 3rd charter, things like that.
Would they bring the 31 back then, I would assume?
31, 33, 29. What are the percentages he threw out? 33.
It would have to be an open car if they don't get a charter, because I don't think they're going to buy a charter to be a 3-car deal for 1 year.
Kyle Busch isn't coming to an open ride.
Right.
So you said Reddick.
So they could put him in the 8, whatever, but it doesn't mean Tyler Reddick.
No, you can just move your charter, right? I don't know.
You guys have this all. You're all off. Kyle Busch is going to RCR, but he's going to be in the 3 car.
No way. There's no way he kicks Austin Dillon out of that car.
Austin Dillon to the 8, and Reddick drives the 33. Get ready for Austin Hill.
I could see that. I don't see him kicking Austin Dillon out of the 3. I think he goes to the 8.
world burn when Kyle Busch gets in a 3 car. I want to see the fucking world burn.
That's all I'm here for. I mean, I'm here for it. So
I'm a Kyle Busch fan just because he's an asshole.
Turn this guy off. Get him the fuck
out
of here.
But I just told you why. But that would be very ironic him getting in the 3-car.
Right?
3 for Dale, baby.
Like,
None of you thought of that, did you? None of you. None of
I
you.
literally
thought
read
of
it all
So
day on
I saw
Twitter.
something. I did see
Oh,
something.
seriously?
It's
I
in all
saw
the
a
comment
meme.
sections on Twitter.
Yeah.
How
I
for
saw
the
a
same
meme.
exact reasons as you said. Chaos.
Have
I
been
saw a
on Twitter
meme
much.
with a Kyle Busch Photoshop next to a 3-car. I'm like,
Right.
how cool! Like somebody's like, man, wouldn't this be something? But I agree with Chris. Like, I just don't see Dylan being.
And
out in
I
to
3-car.
go back
either.
to, not to touch into too much, like, apparently, Jimmy, we missed a lot at Port Royal. Dale Jr. tried to make the world burn last week that sparked all this by putting emojis up about.
Yeah, I
this,
saw that.
Whatever.
I saw all
I
these
don't
things. I didn't think it was that crazy, to be honest.
know. I think it's just him just
Personally.
trolling because Dale Jr. does that sometimes.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
You guys listened to the Tyler Reddick interview with Dale Jr., right?
I watched him on Door Bumper Clear. I didn't watch him on Dale Jr.
You heard him on DVC, right? When the Reddick
Right.
was
Yeah.
on, they were talking about the 48 Xfinity car, and they were kind of like alluding, like you said, we're going to drive it again.
He didn't. Yeah. As soon as he came up, he's like, I'm not. No.
Everything keeps pointing to me that
He's
He's
out of that
gone.
car.
he's gone.
So
like Cup and Xfinity.
I think a lot of it hinges on Kurt Busch.
Busch.
Because obviously Ty Gibbs is going to that 18, which I called since the beginning. There's no way he was going to any other ride other than that 18 car.
What do you really think that was rocket science to figure out?
No. But
Not one-
you know,
not
when
once
we were
Kurt
going
Busch-
through silly season stuff, a lot of
Not
people kept
once-
saying he's going to 45 and this
he
and
would
that.
have. I think he was until things have progressed the way they did. Because he was getting more seat time thanks to Kurt Busch's ordeal at Pocono.
And I think Kurt's probably done because if he didn't try to rush back if he's not back by now,
But this is what Dale Jr. did, and he came back
But
for
I
one
could-
more
yeah.
year.
But I
There's
could
one
see
more
that
year
too.
So it's hard to say,
Oh.
but like Kurt Busch's Pocono deal accelerated all of this. And once,
Yeah.
of course, Ty Gibbs came out and ran well at Pocono, ran well, and now like, oh well, we could get a cheap Kyle Busch. A cheap Kyle Busch is better than an overpaid Kyle Busch. So I don't know if it's a genius move on Gibbs' part, but you knew it was going to happen either this year or next year to either Truex or Busch.
The only good thing to that is they can develop Ty. I mean, I
Right.
don't know how many kid's good, obviously, but I don't know. But you can still develop
Like,
him. He's
I don't know
what,
how much it would
19?
cost.
Is he
He's
19?
always been in a Gibbs car, basically.
19 or 20, yeah. But
Well, I mean, I hope he's only being in Gibbs' car. His last name is Gibbs.
Right. But I'm saying, like, even when, you know,
Ty
when
Gibbs,
he was
Ty
coming up.
Gibbs driving for Richard Childress. That makes a lot of sense.
No, I
So-
meant, like, when he was coming up through, you know,
basically
as a
created
kid.
programs just for him, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, Austin Dillon's
Yes,
sports, but-
exactly. They
So,
did. They created a whole ARCA program for it.
So, my question though is, I don't know how much it would cost Tyler Reddick to buy himself out, or Richard Childress to buy him out. But that would be if Kyle Busch goes to RCR. If I'm Tyler Reddick and I want to be competitive next year, I'm not staying there.
Yeah,
If
but
I
don't
can find a
think
way
he-
to get over.
He's under contract, so if they don't
Yeah.
release him from that contract, he's racing something. Do you think he really cares?
Or colleague.
No, I don't think so. Like, why?
16.
He's not signed with Colleague. He's signed with Richard Childress,
and
and he has a
partner with
signed
Colleague.
deal for 2024.
He's
So-
either
I think Richard Childress would be stupid. Say
I mean,
they have to keep it. I feel like they need to run
stupid
3
for
cars
letting
because
him walk, but
yes, Tyler Reddick is making that team.
right.
Yes, Austin Dillon's still doing
There.
awesome. Yeah,
Doing things right.
listen
but
next
I feel
year.
like they need to keep Reddick to help build that deal. Turn that over to Kyle Busch because we all know how good Kyle Busch is.
Mhm.
Right. My thing is,
I
I think
think
let Reddick
even-
do that.
Even with all three of those, say all three of them are on the team next year, and say Tyler Reddick is in an open car, which I think would probably be the deal. I still think Tyler Reddick, probably most weeks, is gonna give that whole deal, that whole RCR team, probably their best chance to win. You know,
Yeah,
I
it's
think
gonna
Kyle
take
Busch is a great.
Between the
It's
two
gonna
of
great.
them,
take
Busch,
it's
Reddick.
gonna take him to get used to that deal, even though they're all the same car. Everything's basically the same. It's still gonna
So,
take
but
some
my
time
point
to
was
get
that
used
it's still advantageous to have Tyler Reddick on that team, even though it's basically, you know, you're a sitting duck basically at that point because you know it's not going to be. There's no future in it.
Now I
Now,
can
here's
see
a
You
crazy.
knew that when he signed though with 2311 already.
right. So I can see
Right.
if Kurt Busch doesn't come back, Denny and them just buying him out to get him next year. They
Now,
get,
here's a great.
presuming this all goes this way tomorrow.
My crazy thought. What if RCR has to run 3 cars next year? do they give that charter to Kyle Busch and say screw you,
Yeah,
Reddick,
I think it's
for
exactly-
leaving?
I think that's
You think
exactly what they do.
I think
think
it's
that
exactly
will
what they do.
happen?
Absolutely.
And I think Reddick gets to be the guy to test all the new shit out and see if it's good or not.
Didn't they run a third car with Austin Hill already this year? It was
Yeah.
after the announcement of Tyler Reddick.
Yep.
Yes.
So I mean, they already have the deal kind of in motion there, probably to see how it's going to work out.
Yeah, I think we won't know anything until Kyle Busch makes his whatever announcement tomorrow. But I think, yeah, if anyone's getting put off to the curb as an open car, it won't be Kyle Busch. This could be Reddick.
Yeah, it'll be Reddick. I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
Why wouldn't you? I mean,
Right. I mean, as a
they're-
business guy.
But then does RCR want to run 3 cars in the future though? Because we all know it costs a shit ton of money.
no, they don't
to
have
do that.
They don't have enough drivers.
Right.
Well,
And
do they have enough?
Well,
money
Austin Hill-
back?
they have enough money. The cars are all the same, but you don't need to pay $20 million for another charter. Just get more data from Tyler
Well, I'm
Reddick.
just saying in the future, like
No, Kyle Busch
I
has
feel like that
5 years
Oregon.
left.
But does RCR want to keep him around for 5 years?
If
they
they
know
have
they're gonna if they have sponsorship and they're bringing that Hill in or whatever, whoever it is, can they afford to do it for 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, if they have sponsorship, that's the only way it's going to happen. And that team, for all their struggles and performance, they have good sponsors. Like, those cars are well sponsored, and if they can have it on a third one, why wouldn't they?
Yep.
Right.
I mean, I don't disagree. I just don't know how the backing.
I see them maybe they scale down their Xfinity program and then move that all over to a third car.
I can see that too. Just
Right.
keep this trying to bump the sponsors of Xfinity up to the cup. They could do
No,
that,
no,
I
didn't
guess.
the Dillon boys have kids? Like, are their next generation coming?
Yeah,
I mean, you got to think
We're still a little ways out from that.
yeah, but who knows what Ty Dillon's doing because he's out on a ride. Wouldn't that
Yeah,
be
and
crazy?
they do have.
Wouldn't that be
We
kinda
already said
crazy
Austin Hill, but they also have Sheldon Creed. So those are 2 younger drivers that are on the rise.
Wouldn't it be kind of funny if actually Kyle went to Ty Dillon's old car?
It would have been funny, but no Gragson's there. So,
Oh, I guess he is. Isn't
I
he?
think what ends up happening is Kurt Busch ends up retiring, and this whole argument means shit because Reddick will just go there a
I
year
don't
early.
think we're arguing. We're just
No, but
talk through it.
I don't
I think
mean
I think
you take an
this-
argument as like a like
This
I
is
don't.
why Jeremy said 4 weeks ago he's never talking about Kyle Busch until he actually said something. But here we are.
We'll find out.
Here we
tomorrow.
are, down this fucking rabbit hole again. Thanks, guys.
So either way, announcement
Hey,
tomorrow.
you gotta sell some T-shirts and keep everybody on their toes.
Domino's, whatever. So, not the Smeel kind, in case he's out there.
Oh,
listening.
come on! I could go for some lava cakes.
So Bristol, we're expecting chaos. No idea who's gonna win. I think your regular characters will be up there, but I'm expecting chaos. I think Bubba could win again.
How wild would it be?
He's good.
Because
At
it's a
Barstool.
very real possibility that Chase Elliott does not make the next round.
Remember when I said that?
The playoff system would burn to the ground. They would never see it again.
Good.
wait.
Would
Good.
Chris, would it work then? Then will we get you to fire off?
It's coming. I hate the playoff system. Jimmy knows it.
Can you say that again?
I fucking hate the playoff system, and Jimmy
No,
knows
before
it.
that, it's coming.
Why do you have
It's
to
coming.
keep going at me after it?
Because you love it.
I don't love it.
You love it.
I'm just.
Because
I think it's
you're an
what
instant
my whole point the whole time
gratification.
with the playoff system is that it's what NASCAR needed. It needs that type of excitement.
No,
I don't think it's. I don't think it's
not
inherently
racing.
bad.
It's not racing.
Would this Bristol race be better?
Dakota just died. I think.
Oh, would this Bristol race be
Maybe I
better
put
with?
some off my.
No,
Would
I
this,
think
would
his
this
connection
race
dropped.
coming this weekend be better with or without the storylines we have? You
Bristol Night
know
Race.
what's been the whole talk? Not
You
the
know-
Bristol Night Race. The whole talk has been about the guys in the chase, the points. If you had those top 10 separated 60 points each, it would be Bristol Night Race. Sure, does Bristol Night Race get some hype because it's Bristol Night Race? Yeah. But everyone
No,
is excited because it's Bristol Night Race and the chase
I
system.
understand that. I'm saying, from a marketing side, genius, absolute genius. I get it.
Turns out that's what keeps the thing rolling, Bub.
Right, I understand.
Yeah,
So it
exactly.
doesn't
That's
make
what
me
keeps
like
the
it,
money
though.
rolling in.
Just saying.
It also makes all 36 races mean something. Every race means something. I said it when after Pocono. Pocono would have meant jack shit if there was no playoffs.
Southern 500 meant something to Eric Jones. He's not in
Yeah,
the playoffs.
we know there's 4
Dude,
crown jewels,
holy
Chris.
fuck.
We know
Oh,
that there's
goodness.
4 crown jewels. Those are crown jewel races.
Dakota's
Those are
back,
called
I
crown
think.
jewels for a reason. Points
Gave me
don't
my
matter
race,
at them.
It didn't matter.
Dakota's back.
Who?
Yeah, my computer
Yeah.
shut off.
Yeah, you're
Dumbass.
fine. So you're back in time as we go to drink it, dump it for asphalt.
Yeah, let's go.
I have. I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
do a lot of. See how I don't do the NASCAR thing. See how
It's okay. He
do
wasn't.
this?
Yeah, it's
I have-
spiced out.
Yeah, I have.
I
I could use a
suck.
bunch of dump it for. But I'll do
Jay,
my.
you get one.
I'll just do my drink it. Do my drink it for.
Drink it for Bubba. Who's your dump it?
Where do you want me to
One.
start?
Just one.
I'm just gonna. I'll just do a quick list. Playoff system. That's all the two I got is right now.
Good enough. Jimbo?
My drink it goes to Denny Hamlin, man. What a he said it was bittersweet, but I feel like it was more sweet. I mean, he pretty much set himself up for the next round. He finished second, sees his driver win. You know, they swept Kansas. I mean, it couldn't get much better than that for him. So drink it for him. Dump it. I'm gonna go Kevin Harvick. I don't want to take anybody else's, but obviously Kevin Harvick, man, that sucks. He's definitely been one of the stronger cars the past 2 months, and just has had some shitty luck, and is gonna probably cut his season kind of short, you know. But I still think he gets another win this year. But dump it for him.
Fair enough. Jay-Z?
Bubba and Harvick. I mean, too simple, too easy in NASCAR world right now. I mean, Noah is in that running, but I at this point to say drink it for Noah is like that's the expectations, my guy. Like
Right,
this is what
you're
you should be
a little
doing.
bit different.
In my opinion, I mean, it's good. I mean, it's still hard to win these races, you know, and he's lost as many as he's won, you know. So as far as like had him in his control and lost the races, so there's an argument there. But I mean, it's got to be Bubba. I mean, how could you not? Yeah, and Harvick, dude, I'm a fan, and that was shitty. It wasn't rain this time, and it wasn't, you know, whatever, and it was just you don't see that out of You don't see that kind of stuff out of Harvick, honestly. Like, when's the last time you saw a mistake, minus the shift issue where he money shifted coming out of the pits earlier this season,
Right.
but didn't break the car? Like, you don't see Harvick destroy a car of his own doing a mistake. Call it what you want, but like it just you just don't see it. So it's got to be. I think it's Bubba and Harvick for sure for me.
Hard to argue Bubba Wallace. I mean, I was amped. Drink it up. I mean, he went out and took it. Even he said a little bit of loose wheel, a little adversity, came back and figured it out. So Jerry, he already nailed it. Bubba Wallace, good for them guys. Dump it. Tyler Reddick, bad luck. Blew a tire. Kind of put himself in the not as comfortable situation as we thought he'd be in going into this round. Playoff guys as a whole are just getting taken out by all of the guys right now.
Secondary drink it. I hate to do it but Christopher Bell. I mean, lost himself in the game. He's been the most consistent guy out of the playoffs. He had a lot of momentum coming into the playoffs. And I really had him out, probably not making the round of 8, but he's looking like a championship 4 contender right now.
Sure. Yeah, it's definitely the piece of tape.
It's a piece of tape. Well, all right. Well, thanks, Dakota, for coming. And you even stayed around. We've been having fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Brett Perigo's going to be a little jelly.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'll give a shout out to our sponsors, making our deal good possible. Get them some airtime while we're here. Water Treatment by Design, Alloy Wheel Repair, Tim Piper Steam Farm, Jack Giambalvo Hyundai of Hanover, Rick Kaler, Rick Mitchell, BA Brian Arnold, Key State Ag Transport, Ryan Linder, X1 Race Cars, best kart race cars in the market. Drew Bible helped us with the FK shocks. DMI, Don Ott, Fit Racing Engines. And then everybody else that just helps us make our deal go around. You guys for the support, Jay-Z for the awesome pictures. No one really understands actually like how much his pictures do help us, and like video helps us. The other week we were at Sheets and I text Jay-Z and said, hey, I need a shit ton of pictures just trying to figure some stuff out.
Awesome. Yeah,
And I had him
great
from the
about
feature.
Oh yeah, you did.
hearing what your deal is, and hopefully y'all come out strong next year, come back, or maybe Jordan can find a car here soon.
Hopefully we find something for the end of the year. That'd be nice. Run a couple of races.
Yeah.
I think the most depressing thing is we don't get to get back to Lincoln, which we've been sucking at, and I really want to go back there because we changed some stuff around for Lincoln. Don't get to see if it works or not, but it is what it is.
Yeah, dude, appreciate you coming on, man. It's been fun the last few years to get to know you and get to know Jordan a little bit. Definitely want to support, somebody asked me earlier, I don't even know who it was, if I take, somebody asked me at work today about, like, does Danny Dietrich know who you are and your photos and, and Macri, and I said, honestly, like, that doesn't fire me up that they do or don't. Like, there's nothing against those guys, but Jordan, and, Kyle Kuhn and, even like Tyler Ash, they put a lot of race cars this year, and they're good people. Brandon Raymer and Cody Hartlaub and, Zach Newland, and these guys that, like, they're not the top in Central PA necessarily. And I mean, I'm not saying that like Cody Hartlaub is one of the top 350 drivers, but not Danny Dietrich, top 410 driver, right? So, like, support those guys. I do, especially with my dime and my time and my energy, my efforts to support, guys like Dakota and Jordan and friends of mine. It means the world to me that it means the world to them. Like, that is why I kind of started it. I mean, Kyle Keen's the reason. He's like, dude, I think we can be good at this. And I kind of went all in with it and invested in myself and invested for these guys that, that car looks like it does. I mean, they put their time and effort into designing that thing. It should be shown off the way it should be, and those guys do love it. Like Troy, he's another one, like, he's got plenty of people that'll take photos, but at the same time, like, I will take more photos of Jordan Givler's car than I will Anthony Macri's car. Like, not on purpose, but I'm looking for certain cars because I'm doing it in my time for these guys.
Let's be honest, Zach Barber made our car effing mint.
That's true.
Effing
mint, boys.
So appreciate you coming on, dude. It's been a lot of fun.
We'll have to do it again because I know Chris had a couple other questions we didn't get to. So
yeah, we'll have to do it. We have a long winter ahead of us. Maybe you should back on here if you want to come play.
Maybe we'll do it before the season or sometime during the winter, whatever. Maybe whatever during the winter, something to do.
Right, and Jimmy, old Jimbo Slice will be here.
Jimbo, thanks for popping in, buddy.
Thank you all. And for all you guys out watching, awesome. See you next week. We'll be back 8 o'clock next week.
Not 8:45 this time. 8 o'clock sharp.
It's all Dakota's fault.
It's all George Wood's fault.
No, it's Tyler File's fault. Have a good night.
Let's see.